Outstanding. Oh, my word.
Oh, how good is that?
That's spectacular.
VFL Footy on Fox for your Friday afternoon, coming to you from the Harbour City, where the Sydney Swans host Collingwood, the first leg of a doubleheader between these two teams this afternoon. The Marngroup game across the road at the SCG. We're at Tramway Oval as the Swans 4-2 on the season host the Pies 2-4. Joel Peterson alongside Sam Doherty and Josh Jenkins. Steph Clarkson is on the boundary for us this afternoon. Doc, Corey Warner in red-hot form, coming off an absolutely stat-stuffing game against the Kangas last week.
Yeah, an amazing game by Corey Warner last week. As you can see the numbers on the screen there, 36 disposals and the 4 goals. He's having an outstanding season at VFL level when he's down there. Across his 3 games, he's had 32 disposals on average and 5 clearance. It's just been trying to make that jump up to AFL level. He kind of drops a little bit up there, so he's only had just 10 disposals on average at AFL level across his 4 games. But at VFL level, absolutely dominating.
And for JJ, for the Pies, big Bryn Teakle, of course, the mid-season draft only days away, and a few clubs are looking out there for a big man.
Yeah, they are. The Dogs, of course, with their Tim English issues. A few others would like some depth as well, and already taken twice in the mid-season draft in 22 and 24. Time spent at North Melbourne and Port Adelaide. And I think, Joel, if he gets taken a 3rd time, we might have to call it the Bryn Teakle mid-season draft.
Yes.
It would be a reasonable effort.
It'd be very, very impressive indeed. He's become a bit of a specialist. Let's complete our team and say a very good afternoon to Steph Clarkson. Steph, what are the conditions like?
Hello guys, how are we? Well, the clouds behind me are telling otherwise. Supposedly we've got no more rain for this afternoon, keeping it at around 20 degrees. We've got a slight breeze from the south, but it's not going to affect any of the shooting really or favour each side. Now, the Swans are looking to snap that losing game that they had last week against North Melbourne, a rare one. They had their 4 wins before that, while the Pies are also looking to get back in the winners' books after that massive loss to Geelong last week. They'll be boosted by a couple of new ins. They have 5 changes, but Charlie West, who kicked 4 goals for them last week, goes into the senior side. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they cover that big goal-scoring loss. As for the Swans, Hayden McLean drops back into the VFL side. He kicked 3 goals last week in the seniors against North Melbourne. He was on 99 AFL games as well, so dropped back before 100, but hopefully he has a really good impact today, guys.
Thanks, Steph. Look forward to hearing more from you throughout the call this afternoon. Hayden McLean coming back in. He's kicked 15 goals at this level this season, and a few new faces for the Pies, including young Noah McMenamin, who's a mid-season draft prospect. He'll be operating for the Pies as well today. There's big Hayden McLean bouncing around, ready to go. Pete Laddams has been in sensational form for the Swans, and it's Peters who gets us going for Sydney. Bashes it as far as he can to fall forward, and immediately an opportunity for those Swans forward. Hamling up there with McLean. We know he's been operating at both ends of the ground, as he can do. He's starting up front today to try and really stretch this Pies defence. Chancy defence for Brady Gray, the Collingwood captain, one with plenty of experience, and it just feels like this will, coming out of their form, it'll be a big test for them today, JJ.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, VFL teams can fluctuate so much on who goes into the AFL team and which players drop out, and Sydney have just got this nucleus of experienced VFL/AFL players, so they're going to be up against it, the young Pies, but it's a great challenge on the road.
Steph mentioned with those into the senior team for Collingwood, none of their players have played a senior game so far this season, as Warner kicks long to full forward and Jath floats in to mark. Comes out to Saxena, who can keep things moving in the right direction for the Pies. McCarthy, so a couple of their first-year players combining. McCarthy comes on over the top, looking for the big fella in Teakle. Couldn't take it with him. Saxena with a little hand pass around the corner to Will Phillips, the former Kangaroo, kicks the Pies inside the 50. Laddams getting back there. Shipley, Malice got the kick away, straight back into Collingwood hands. Oscar Forkhead kicks to the pocket. The Pies will get the first look, and it'll come through big Xavier Laverty.
Just great pressure off the back of the forward entry there, and this is where Collingwood play their best footy, don't they? They pressure really well on that forward 50, forward half of the ground, and then their ability to punish off turnover has been the highlight of when they've been playing their really, really good footy at AFL level and obviously at the VFL level as well.
Laverty curls it around the corner, and he misses narrow. Made his debut a couple of weeks ago against the Blues. 198 centimetres. Couple of behinds on the season for him. We called the Swans here a couple of weeks ago, JJ, and this is what they did so well. Transition the ball from end to end.
Yeah, absolutely. And even though aerially there, Hamling gives away a free kick, they're really staunch. They played Hamling in defence that day, so they had Hamling down back, Laddams through the middle and McLean up front. So they're going to have aerial supremacy today. So ball at ground level might be a good thing for the Pies.
Both teams in their Indigenous round kits, which is great to see. Peters and Malice, and a really good tackle from Swadling forces the footy loose for the Pies. Printable has a hand in the build-up. Teakle thumps it inside the 50, and he put it into a great spot. Not being able to take the mark was Harrison. Shipley got there right in the nick of time. They can try and get out of trouble now, the Swans, through Giacometti.
Opportunity lost there, should have been marked. Would have been a fairly straightforward shot at goal too. The early pressure though from the Pies, 2 rundown tackles already. So from a coaching perspective, you know your players are engaged.
Pies coming off a 61-point loss to Geelong last week. Swans went down to North Melbourne by a couple of kicks after controlling the scoreboard for much of that game. Chance inside 50 here. Warner tight to the boundary line, sizes things up, lets it go. Jaff slaps it through.
Does feel like who's going to be able to punish better off turnover is going to be in this game. It doesn't feel like it's going to be too slow or kick mark or any of that type. It feels like both teams are going with some speed and trying to get the ball inside 50 quickly.
Almost the turnover coming out for the Pies. Harrison just got dragged off it there by Max Marnie. Sort of had it between his feet, and Marnie almost picked him up and just ripped him across the boundary line.
And he had a pretty good argument that he actually marked that and the ball didn't hit the ground. It was in his hands and then between his legs. I think he had a reasonable argument. And that's what he was certainly suggesting.
Thrown in the pocket in front of the lake. Sydney Cricket Ground side here at Tramway Oval. Jaff stepping through, got caught by Peters. The man who bears a striking resemblance to the number 11 in the senior team. Peters will kick it inside. A really high footy to full forward. Hanley almost off hands, goes back in and lays the tackle, picks it up, flicks it over the top. Howe's got dragged down. Malice with a good tackle.
Great commitment from both players. Malice to stick that tackle against a far bigger man. Malice was impressive against Casey a couple of weeks ago.
That one's rushed through for a minor score.
Bang.
Here's the endeavour from Mitch Malice.
Yeah, fantastic from both players there to not cough it up as well. D50 cough-ups will kill you, so good work to not cough that up in the big, strong tackle.
Malice overlooked at his draft year back in 2019. He's been plying his trade coming out of the Eastern Ranges and now doing some nice things for the Swans. Still only 24. Could yet be an opportunity for him. Forkhead got it from Smith. Harrison to the edge of the 50. Chance for McCarthy, who eyes darting. Says, I'm going to go to the top of the square, lads. Sit under this. Teakle has a go. Laverty was there as well. Laverty goes back in. Cleary's been racking them up for fun. He gets the Swans moving. Phillippo, he kicked to exit. Hanley can try and continue the run here for Sydney. McLean's out in space. He's got a player alone inside the forward 50. Hamling will take the mark. And this should be a sure conversion for the first of the game.
Much like the AFL side, their forward handball and run and carry, it's ingrained in the way they play their footy. And I think it was Hanley being able to take the game on and take a fairly risky handball inside, creates this passage of play. McLean, great kick inside 50, and Hamley should be a formality here.
5 goals, 1 on the season. Joel Hamling makes it a 6th, and he gets the first for the Swans.
Yeah, that's going to be the challenge for the Pies. Here it is. Hanley just plays on. It looks kamikaze, but there's so much method. They've practiced it with small-sided games at training across the summer on this very oval where the Sydney Swans do a lot of their pre-season work. And it would be so exciting as a forward because as soon as you can get one handball through, Doc, it changes the drop zone. The defender who wants to be proactive is out of position and you get easy goals.
And ultimately, that forward craft is part of the reason why they get so much space. Is they've stretched the ground, which creates these pockets of space to run in, and that's where that forward handball's got so much damage.
From the Crows leading goal kicker Josh Jenkins, Carlton Best and Ferris, Sam Doherty with you. VFL Footy here on Fox. Chair Committee squeezes his kick up the line. Swans back in possession again. Hannelly, Peters outside of the boot. High to the top of the square. McLean brings it down. Warner does the roving. He hands it off to Malice. 2 in quick time for Sydney.
Just outstanding crumbing and work rate there by Corey Warner. Unselfish, gives the ball off. First give off the deck. That's the stuff that you're looking for.
Spoke last time we saw the Swans, Doc, about, I think Corey Warner's a great example. You gave his numbers at VFL level and then AFL level. One of the more tricky things I'd imagine for any young player, but even these inside mids who have dominated at underage footy, then they have to go and play high half forward. That's what Warner's pretty much had to do. Must be tough to play in a foreign role.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, at VFL level, they play inside mid and they're in clearance, they're in contest all the time, and then you go to a role at AFL level that's largely built off work rate up and down the ground. You don't get many licks of the ice cream in terms of the ball in your hands, but that's how you get back into the senior team, and then you work into the middle of the ground after you play some good footy there.
And then you lay tackles like that to win the footy for your side. So a little bit of everything early from Corey Warner, and Tyne Prindable wasn't keen to give the footy back, and he's going to give away 50.
Yeah, costly when you're under a little bit of momentum against. You don't want to be handing goals to the opposition. Just good pursuit in the tackle from Warner. Always difficult in that situation to find a target, and that's just a little bit silly. Not sure
it's more than a little bit silly.
Exactly what Prindable was thinking there. That's been a rule in foot. That is one of the rules we don't argue about.
No, that one's been there for a long, long time.
Huge numbers last time out for Corey Warner. He's off to a hot start here as well, as are the Swans. And the rain won't dampen what they've got going early in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big start from them. Now, Collingwood had an opportunity or two before these 3 goals in 3 minutes to get on the scoreboard and get a major themselves, but it has been 3 goals in 3.5 minutes. The rain is falling down at Tramway Oval, so any lead's a good lead if it's going to be persistent. I saw the big dark clouds in the background. We can't even see the tops of some of the buildings. So
now, it's a good thing our very astute camera people got the shot of the building before the game started, because as soon as the game started, that was not available, that particular camera angle.
Yeah, which is ominous for this game and the next.
Ominous for Steph, who guaranteed us no rain for the rest of the day as well, which is a bit of a setback for Steph Clarkson. Part of our team this afternoon. Great to have you with us. Whether it sort of seems like the kind of afternoon, this time slot, 2 p.m. Friday Eastern time, JJ, that you might be just have the headphones on in the office. Or...
Yeah, well, I'm renovating at the moment, and our tradies never seem to be working at 2 o'clock on a Friday. So,
well, in the corporate world, it's probably knockoff time and going down to the pub with it on your phone, I would have thought.
Yeah, good afternoon to the tradies who've got us on the speaker at JJ's place.
Who are probably watching on the couch versus being on the building site. No, they've worked a hard week. They deserve it.
Great to have your company wherever and however you're with us this afternoon. Swans off to a flying start after the Pies had a couple of opportunities early in the piece. It's all Sydney. Cleary, Giacometti, Harrison, all by hand, as this Sydney team loves to do. Chamberlain drops it off to the edge of the arc. Longmire will just waltz it in. No, the blocking free kick.
Yeah, Warner pinged for the block. That's a great example, though, of both sides of that handball game. Collingwood actually did an okay job of forcing that handball, or all those handballs, wide and giving themselves a chance to get back and defend.
Snell comes up and lays some body into Prindable, who's caught holding the ball. So it's been an ignominious couple of minutes for Tyne Prindable. That time he did just make sure he didn't knock that ball on. Detoli carves his kick in field. DiMattia is there to take it away. Prindable, fast hands. Little one came through Hood. Swans back in possession. That one's knocked down. Nice endeavour there from big Liam Hood to chase that toward the boundary line.
It's one thing about the Sydney's offense, but I don't think they get enough credit in terms of their defense, the way their system's set up. They handball really well through, but they've also got all the numbers there to put pressure on. As soon as that ball got turned over there, that you could see the numbers in the screen coming the other way when Collingwood tried to go back at them on turnover.
Swans 4-2 on this season. Lost last week, but had won their previous 4. The Pies have lost 2 in a row. They'll be 2-4. Here's Warner. Kicking inside the 50 beautifully to Hamling. Breaking the line. Hamling wastes no time, and the Swans have got 4 in the first 12.5 minutes.
Gee, there are opportunities. Almost makes me want to get back out there and play footy the way these Swans forwards are on the end of these balls delivered out the back, and there's so much space for all these Swans forwards. Hamling's the one who's been able to benefit the most, but there's an opportunity here, Doc, in that Collingwood haven't turned them over yet, but this forward handball game does present an opportunity. If you can roadblock it and bumper bar a few of these Swans players, you'll get some good turnovers.
Yeah, and we saw that earlier in the game. The Pies put on some great pressure, a couple of run-down tackles when the Swans are trying to handball through, and had some really good looks off the back of it. They weren't able to capitalise off that, though.
So a couple for Hamling in the early going. Plenty of interested onlookers that'll continue to fill up, you'd imagine, as the trams keep rolling into the Moore Park station. Just behind the ground here. Tumbling kick, controlled well by Longmire. Knocked it away from Jaff, kept it alive for himself. Cleary, hand pass out wide to Mellis. Strides through the 50, centering kick. And opened the door there for De Bolfo. Warner flicks it up. Jaff caught. Mellis dispossesses him and then throws him into the turf. It's going to be a free kick going to the young Pies defender.
Probably wouldn't have. I know we saw a couple of controversial ones. Isaac Heaney involved, for and against. I probably don't mind seeing that first one paid if there's, as long as it's not a genuine knockout. If there's some type of tackle and a player's dispossessed, I don't mind seeing those quickly pinged for holding the ball, because that's where we start to see players slung and dumped to the ground.
Bryn Teakle up in the pack, brings it down, and it's all locked up. Teakle will do the ruck work against Tom Ryan, player who's had a little bit of AFL interest in recent seasons. Harrison spins out of the tackle neatly, floats his kick to full forward. McLean had a play at it. Jaff almost left it behind. He's in the wars at the moment. His Stu Jaff just got bundled down again. Harrison to centre half back, fisted on intelligently by Gray. Swans line up through the middle of the ground. Not being able to take it cleanly was Podmore-Taylor for Sydney. Now they're out. Gray kicks inside the 50. Laverty's at the back. Is there a downfield free?
Yeah. Some late contact. We've seen that. That's probably the hottest rule in the game at the moment. Even minor contact is resulting in free kicks either at the position of the incident or downfield in a lot of cases, and this is going to present Collingwood with a great opportunity. I've already seen Laverty have one opportunity that he missed early in the contest, so he'll want to put this one through. There's nothing worse than having 2 chances in the first quarter and leaving both on the table.
Pretty elementary set shot. Laverty makes it look just that. He's got their entire score in the first 15 minutes, and the Pies have got their first.
You can see on the screen that the difference in the setups of the two sides. We had a great look down from the stoppage, and you could see how far the Sydney players were away from the ball. They were opening up the ground. Then conversely, you look at this one and you look how high the Collingwood setup is. They're looking to get up really high and rip them out the back. It's requiring a really, really hard kick there to get that to Laverty, but getting the free kick. But you can just see the two different styles, and Sydney off the back of getting a handball out the front of stoppage have looked really dangerous, and then the Pies on the other side of this, their ability to pressure around the ball, that's why their forwards are up high. So when Sydney come out of the stoppage, they can put pressure on, but then they're going to have great reactions to be able to run forward hard.
Let's just say that was minor contact, Joel.
Contact nonetheless. And the Pies will get another look inside the 50. It's going to be free kick and advantage. And it's just dribbled toward goal. Maybe Phillips coming through there, who was able to get boot to ball. Simon Goodwin, Dean Cox watching on. A couple of interested onlookers before the AFL game this afternoon.
Not bad when one of your assistant coaches is a fresh AFL coach out of the game,
Yeah,
sitting there as well.
Recent premiership coach.
Fairly helpful, that's for sure. Pies will force another turnover, so just gaining some ascendancy in the contest the last few moments. Printable inside the 50, and hasn't this man made an impressive start? Another mark for Laverty. He had a very similar shot early in the piece, and he's got another opportunity here.
Yeah, absolutely. And this will suit his left foot. He's probably a little bit too far out to snap it. A lot of players do like to go around the corner regardless of how far they are from goal. Just good body work there. The kick was perfect to advantage, and he was able to lean into his opponent and take a nice, simple chest mark.
Second game in Pies colours. A lefty comes in, strikes it, leaves it narrow as he did his first shot, so still has their entire score. Or most of it, at least. He's got 1-2 of the 1-3 in the early going. He's made a really bright start to this contest. It's these two AFL teams meeting tonight at the SCG in the Marngrook game. Both out there in their Indigenous strips for Sir Doug Nicholls round. We'll tell you a little bit about those as we go throughout the course of the afternoon. Flying shot here from McCarthy to the pocket. Snell. Oh, pinched by Laverty, who whips it around the body and misses again. He could have had an absolute field day in this first quarter.
Could have had five shots because someone played on from his free kick as well. But you can see just great pressure. That's exactly what Collingwood need to build. They need to build that pressure around the ball. When the Swans start to handball, they've already had 27 handball receives in this first quarter. They're going to flick it left, right and centre. So putting pressure on and then punish them on the turnover.
As we've spoken about with the mid-season draft around the corner, it's a good time to have a good game.
It is. 3-1 looks a lot better than 1-3 when you check out the stat sheet at the end of the day, and believe me, they're the ones when you put your head on the pillow tonight, a snap on your preferred from 15 out, it's hard to get to sleep.
Warner laying a strong tackle in the middle of the ground. Xavier Laverty out of the O&M around Wangaratta. Tyne Printable, part of the Brisbane Lions Academy last year, played a few games for the Lions at VFL level late in 2025. Picked up by Collingwood with the 32nd pick at the draft. McCarthy with a play at it inside the arc for the Pies. See that pressure number, really good for them early in the piece. 15 tackles to 8. Swadling got a shove as he got his kick away. And the Swans might be able to bounce back out of this. Kyle loops it over the top for Filippo. He's usually a good user of the footy. That's no exception to Ryan, but he had his kick dived upon. And then he's thrown to the turf again, big Tom Ryan. Gray comes crashing through. Collingwood can start to move something off half-back. Teakle feigned the handball, then didn't know what to do with the handball, put it onto his boot. That worked pretty well. The mark 50. Is paid. That should be 50. It's not going to be.
Yeah. Giving benefit of the doubt.
Lenient.
Josh Brown lays it off inside the arc. And Will Phillips has got it. He able to pop it on over the top. Jai Saxena. So Collingwood have had a really good patch here.
Yeah, they have. They have. Doesn't Brady Gray look like a throwback footballer with his socks up, and he's made a good start to the contest as well. So it's been a good period for Collingwood. They just need to put a little bit more of this on the board, because the game is all about momentum, and when you've got it on your side, you just need to make it count on the scoreboard.
And that is exactly what Jai Saxena does there. He straightens up in front of the sticks, and the Pies get some reward for all their good work.
Yeah. Sydney, in a large part, had a lot of control over the first period of this quarter. They're on top at stoppage. They've kicked 3 goals from their stoppage. They're winning stoppage 9-3. But what we've seen in the last 5 to 6 minutes is just elite pressure by the Pies. And you speak to anyone at Collingwood, whether this is AFL or VFL program, they speak about pressure being their #1 thing. They love to put the football in their forward half. They love to put pressure on, build their game off that, build their game off defence, and be able to punish. That's when they're playing their best footy, they pressure, they turn it over, but they punish really well inside 50, JJ.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Up for the fight. Whether they're going to be outclassed and a little bit undermanned, that is probably what the game looks like early, but they're certainly up for the challenge and certainly bringing great pressure to this contest.
They owned the first 2 or 3 minutes. They've owned the last 5 in this ball game. Cleary just bounces out of a tackle. Had it 36 times last week, averaging 32 touches a game. Forkhead through the middle. Here's Di Mattia from the 50. Harry lines up and goes for home and just misses. Hits the inside of the post.
Another opportunity, so generating enough chances, 7 scoring shots to 6, no issues there. I just wonder if Laverty continues to be a problem, you could swing Hamling back, even though he's got a couple of goals. So the Swans have got some options personnel-wise.
Kyle up at half forward here for the Swans. McLean got shoved off it by Ryan. Here's Howes inside defensive 50. His exit isn't as neat as he would have liked.
They won the footy back though, Collingwood. That's the opportunity that is presented by the forward handball game. If you can go forward and make those great decisions, you can turn Sydney over.
Prindable got it away to Woden, who was tackled. Dispossessed, but Collingwood stay in possession. Saxena off to Harrison, had a fumble, got caught. And he gets a free kick in the end.
Well, okay. We might need to see that again.
Not 100% sure what for, to be fair.
Inadvertent contact.
He almost tried to give another free kick away immediately by running straight into another tackle. And he pokes it to the edge of the arc. Woden to the pocket. Harrison providing support for the Swans. +1 in terms of the inside 50 count in the early going, the Pies. Nice work there from Hamling, who's owning the air for Sydney. They come back the other way in a flash. And Warner, he has got McLean all alone at the top of the square. You only need to give them a second and they will strike the Swans.
Absolutely, they can. And these forwards have seen what the forward handball game to do. They don't need much leeway and much opportunity to just quickly duck out the back and get some space. Hamling's done it twice, and now McLean gets his chance.
3 last week at AFL level. 15 goals 2 from his 5 games at VFL level. He makes no mistake there. And Sydney break the run of back-to-back Collingwood goals and add a 5th of the game.
You can just see how well drilled they are. That this whole team movement where they're all running together, that you can tell that they've trained this, and the AFL's no different. But their ability to go with speed and go with hands, and it's complemented by their forward line. Their forward line is so quick with their reaction to be able to get out the back. They work hard to create that space. They can't handball through without their forwards playing their role. And you can see how well that's been drilled by Dean Cox over the pre-season, and it's translating so well into the VFL side.
Not necessarily a Collingwood. It's not something they like to do is tag, but Corey Warner, 7 disposals, 3 inside 50s and a goal already.
Laddams with the clearance. Detoli ends up with the footy. Big fist through that from Howes. I think it was DeBolfo coming over the top of the pack. Another impressive defender in this Collingwood team. They're pretty well stocked down there with Noah Howes and Ben DeBolfo. Swadling, Jaff. Through the middle they come. Prindable got caught. Great tackle, Hanley. Umpire says mine.
And that is the blueprint. At half-time, Collingwood have got the opportunity to show some vision in terms of how to stop Sydney. That's exactly what you need to show. Sydney coming forward with players with their back to goal, and you nail big tackles.
Pete Laddams again involved in the middle of the grounds. Tumbling kick up to half forward for the Pies. Snell, Laverty laid the tackle. Flipped out the back to Geddes. He now finds Caligari. Pops it on down the line. Swadling runs interference. The big West Aussie. Big-bodied midfielder. Swans back in possession, and that's going to be a turnover. Jath will pick that off easily.
Good positioning from Jath there. Just stayed in line with the ball and the goals. Let the forward sort of get offline with the ball, hoping for the easy one. That was good defensive work.
Brother CJ, of course, now at the Demons after a few years with Hawthorn. Caligari's handball forward to the run of Malice. Peters. And again, they chained it forward by hand. Intelligent knock-on from Warner to Laddams. Hanley's inside the 50. Warner's still just waiting for this to pop out. But Ryan was in the right spot for Collingwood, mopped it all up. The Pies can chain it back off half-back now. Harrison. Just carves his kick down the line. It's Brady Gray. Put themselves into a little bit of trouble here. Kennedy. Harrison. DiMattia to a central spot. Adams getting back there to offer defensive support for Sydney. That's a very neat kick from a big man.
It is. Hamling did a good job to get down to it. Just too eager to go a little bit fast there inside 50. The Pies are outnumbered. Sydney were rolling their players back. Just potentially needed to go around the arc and try and look for a little short 40 to 45 from goal. Went fast, turned it over, and now they're going to face it inside 50 against.
He's got some serious tricks, Big Pete Laddams. He's in a rich vein of form at the moment. Warner with a beautiful bit of roving. Handball over the top. Philippou can stroll in and miss. Only just scored.
Was he trying to make that harder for himself, that shot at goal there?
It's a left footer arc, isn't it? They roll further to the boundary line. But another great piece of work by Corey Warner. If you're talking about what's going to get him into the AFL side, like we've seen a number of front and centres where he's been able to get to the right spot, he's been able to hit at the right moment, and he's been able to create scores off the back of it. Not against that that tag you were talking about, JJ.
Paddy Logan and his team will be thinking about it at quarter time. Here's De Bolfo, second season at Collingwood. Formerly Preston and Box Hill. Played his VFL footy. Phillips caught, got the handball away. Big Laura Schmidt just waltzes through a few. Gives the big don't argue, pumps it inside the 50. A bit of roving from Giacometti. And the Swans can steady coming out of half-back. The captain in Shipley finds Cleary, dropped it on the wing, allowed Smith in. Did well again, the big fella. The Pies can bring it forward through Marr. Now Saxena just inside the boundary line. He wants some movement ahead of him. Teakle's floated inside the 50, couldn't pull it in. And a late chance goes begging for Collingwood. They made a fist of that opening term after conceding the first 4. They hit some form, the Pies and the Swans with a couple of late ones. Quarter time at Tramway Oval. It's Sydney leading at 33 to Collingwood 17. Quarter time, Friday VFL footy here on Fox. Mitch Mellis getting the Swans going early in the piece. They kicked 4 in a row to start, did the Sydney Swans. The Pies fought their way back into the contest. Corey Warner has been central to everything Sydney's doing thus far. It is Sydney by 16 points. There's Dean Cox checking things out. Of course, his Swans take on Collingwood tonight, 6:30 live right here on Fox Footy as part of another Friday doubleheader. The Marngrook game at the SCG and the Red Hot Swans taking on Collingwood a little bit later this evening at AFL level as well. Plenty of interested Swans onlookers at quarter time, as well as in that Collingwood huddle where they're assessing things after a quarter. JJ and Doc, what did you make of the opening term?
Good game. Collingwood certainly, now clearly there is an experience and a class discrepancy between the two teams. That's why we've got two teams at different ends of the ladder in the VFL program this year, but Collingwood generated opportunities, no doubt about it. And I think once you feel what the handball game looks like and you get a taste of it for 30 minutes, you get a little bit of an adjustment and an opportunity to make some adjustments in this second, third and fourth quarter. So I like what Collingwood have done, Doc. They're in the fight, but certainly the Swans feel like they've got the extra punch when required.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Collingwood have to take some positives out of that quarter. Losing the clearance battle and losing that initial territory battle, it makes you play a different game, and I think they'd be really pleased with their ability to be able to transition the ball from their back half to their forward half. They got enough scoring opportunities. I thought their pressure was great in the first quarter. Conversely, on the other side, and we spoke about it a little bit, but Sydney's ability to run and carry, it's kind of a contrast of each side. One's trying to handball, one's been putting on a lot of pressure, and inevitably it's going to be who can just stay calm and who can stay in the moment and punish off the back of that.
Yeah, the Swans have got that running game up and running. Early in this opening term, they lead it by 16 points. As we get set for a start here in this second quarter, Joel Peterson, Sam Doherty, Josh Jenkins with you. Let's get down to Steph Clarkson, who's with Nick Malcheski.
Stand by, Steph.
Nick, good start to that first quarter, but you said you weren't as happy with how the boys came out to play.
Yeah, I thought the first half of the quarter we played our way, and then we sort of went away from our roles a little bit and our structure, and Collingwood were able to beat us around the contest and then get good looks on the other side.
You guys are really hard with the handball chains. You had 10 clearances to their 5. Is that a positive you'll take into this quarter?
Absolutely. I didn't even know that. Sorry, I didn't even look at the clearances. But yeah, that's obviously centre bounce. We've got lads and some good mids in there, so we're getting good looks, but we just need to fix up our contest work.
Beautiful. Good luck for the second half.
Thank you.
Steph Clarkson, nice little bit of coaching intel from Steph as well. That's good stuff. Runs in the family, clearly.
There are that many stats. I'm not surprised he overlooked one or two of them.
It also shows you what they value. They're not really too worried about whether they win the clearance battle. They're more in the transition game, I think.
Swans by 16 points as we get going here in this second term. Forkhead kicks inside 50. Laverty's been really impressive thus far. Just tried to play basketball with that one. Almost crossed himself over. Cracking in at ground level. Mellis again. And it's going to be locked up. Pies trying to get off to a better start they did in that opening term. They had a couple of opportunities really early. And then Sydney took over for the next 10 minutes or so. Banged on 4 goals in that time.
Yeah, looked a high fend off at the elbow. Just got up under the throat there. So Swans will be able to take advantage. But there might be some collateral damage there.
Forkhead, who's gone for the
right on
high
that
fend off and just got Nick Shipley right in the larynx.
Yeah, no good. I've had a busted larynx. It's no good. It is good
It doesn't even sound good.
It is good for having a rest though, because you actually can't get your heart rate up because the other half of your larynx closes. You're in trouble.
Right. So you'll be on the couch with the tradies.
You're allowed to. I think I was allowed to get my heart rate up to 100, which is not extreme exercise by any stretch.
Ed Kerno did his and had to do singing lessons to get his voice back.
Well, it hasn't worked.
Harrison inside the forward 50. Almost applied that for Brown, who can't take it away for the Magpies. Both teams, as we told you, in their Indigenous jumpers this afternoon as part of Sir Doug Nicholls round at AFL level. Exiting kick for the Swans came from Podmore Taylor. McLean couldn't hang on to it. And that'll go out for a last touch free kick. And Javan Filippo, young South Australian, kicked a brilliant goal last week against the Kangaroos from his 11 touches. Whacks it up the line. Really good mark taken by De Bolfo.
Yeah, I was just about to reference the fact the Pies tall defenders have actually held up okay. I'm glad I waited because it was a great intercept mark. The goals that the Swans forwards have got, look, there's 3 goals between McLean and Hamling, but they've been out the back. They've been goals that no defence would be able to stop. The issues have been up the ground, but in the aerial one-on-one contests and the 2-on-2 contests, the tall Collingwood defenders have held up really well.
Bit of sun starting to poke through here at Tramway Oval, and they go inside 50. And that just like the sun coming from behind the clouds, Hayden McLean comes through the pack and pulls in the mark.
Yeah, what a jinx that was. But it was a good mark. Again, though, it's getting the ball off the line of where the ball has started from. So the origin is that free kick. You give a quick little handball. It allows the Swans to just take a little bit of grass, and all of a sudden that ball can either be kicked to a hit up or it can get out the back, and the defender is just left in no man's land.
Chance to redeem yourself. Will he kick it?
Yeah, of course. Great kick at goal, this big man.
Hayden McLean strolls in. Beautifully, just as Josh Jenkins told you he would. Gets the first of the second quarter for the Swans and his second of the game.
Yeah, well, I think this guy should be playing AFL footy every week, but clearly with the inclusion of Charlie Curnow, or Marty's been in spectacular form at AFL level, and Logan McDonald, I'd imagine McDonald and McLean probably aren't competing for the same spot, Doc.
No, I don't think so. I think McDonald's more of that sort of third tall roaming type, whereas McLean's one of the big guys. He's probably competing against Amati and Curnow, and as you said, he should be playing AFL footy. And we're talking about this off air before we started. He's the perfect player for a mid-season trade period at the moment.
Yeah.
If he was on the market for a lot of teams needing a tall forward, he'd be almost first on the chopping block for it.
It's interesting if Brodie Grundy was to go out as a ruck, they'd probably go Peter Laddams first. So he's not quite right there for a couple of those spots. But he's playing some really good footy. 99 AFL games, as Steph told us earlier, so he's right on the bubble of a milestone. Printable drilled it inside forward 50 for the Pies, and they are going to get an opportunity here from the free kick. Young Zach McCarthy, rookie, part of their next-gen academy.
He's got the body of a rookie too. He's going to have to spend some time shifting a little bit of tin in the gym.
Yep, 199 centimetres and weighs probably a third of that.
Yeah, we wouldn't know these days, but what I can tell you is he's not 100.
What's his leg like? From right on the 50, he gives it a really good whack. Hits a lovely kick. Zach McCarthy puts through the goal. His third of the season. And the Pies answer straight back.
Good work for Printable out of the midfield then. He's actually putting together quite a handy game, Printable. He's had the eight disposals, and that kick was perfectly on the chest. Made the defender very, very nervous. But the Pies, they're just sticking around. They're doing a really good job, just staying in the game. The Swans have been on top, in my opinion, over the first sort of quarter and a bit of the game. But they're just hanging around. At some stage, they'll get a good run on, and the momentum will turn their way. They've just got to keep sticking at it, keep playing their game.
Looks a good size, McCarthy, in terms of his athleticism. Got long arms. It's a good finish too from right on 50 metres. So going to be a low possession player and potentially vulnerable in the aerial one-on-ones. You've got to do the job when you do get your opportunities, and that was a nice finish from McCarthy.
55th pick in the draft last season.
I think that's what you want your 55th pick to look like, isn't it? A bit of a project, someone who's got a lot of upside.
Someone they can definitely work with. Warner frees himself out of the tackle and just explodes away again. Gets onto that left peg and measured it beautifully for Hamling, who leads the competition, contested marks, and clunks another one there.
Looks good as a forward, Hamling. He's a premiership defender and has played on him a couple of times. He's a very difficult player to play against. Spent a lot of time early in his career with Dale Morris and plays defensively in a similar fashion.
He wastes no time, rolls straight in, hangs the kick out to the right. McLean goes upstairs. He can't mark. Was checked off the footy. Here's McMenamin back inside defensive 50. Their 23rd player for the Pies today. A little bit of draft interests around him for a couple of weeks away in the mid-season draft as the ball goes out of play.
Some really good hands out of defence there by Pies, but equally just as good pressure from the Swans to cause that stoppage there.
Ball will be thrown back in. And on the western side of the ground, here at Tramway Oval. Nice little give there from Hood. Di Mattia goes upstairs, brings it down to himself and keeps things moving for Collingwood. Now the entering kick. It's 2 a 1 on 2. And it's an easy mark in the end to Podmore-Taylor.
Just the difference of the connection there going inside forward 50. We saw the Swans get goals with players running out of stoppage and running ahead of the contest to forwards out the back who had created space. Just the Collingwood forwards a little bit slow to identify that they had numbers and they're going to chain from stoppage and they needed to lengthen the ground.
Malice kicks it an absolute mile in the air. And Noah Howes sits under it. South Australian out of the Port Noarlunga Footy Club, south of Adelaide. Beautiful part of the world. Smacks it back to the edge of the arc. Pies have good representation at ground level. And as do the Swans. Tackle laden. Laddams will win himself the free kick. Last 3 weeks for Pete Laddams, 39, 31 and 28 touches. He had 28 and 11 clearances last week.
Huge. Needs to get moving. Just the 4 so far.
Racking them up. There you see his numbers on the season, 28 and 9. Longmire drives it to full forward. Hamling brings it down to himself. How's the snap? It is striking the inside of the post.
She's unlucky. That ball didn't curve at all. It was in the end, it was a front punt. It didn't give him any type of curve. It was good work from him though, and you could see the system of Collingwood allowed that and stopped that from being a mark to Hamling. Third up air assist, which Collingwood at their best are very good at.
Laverty's been impressive. Just slipped through his grasp there. Arching the back for the Swans. Andriacchio. Jaff lays the tackle.
Surprised there. He might have been pinched for hatching that footy there, Caligari, but umpires have been pretty lenient today.
Adams just bully Smith off the footy. It's a kick away to a central spot. Longmire got shoved down. Umpire said that was done so illegally. So Jed Longmire kicks it to a really dangerous spot. Swans have again got the flyers. Hamling and McLean both went up. Warner stayed down, got tackled. Howes goes headlong, handball straight to Cleary, and Cleary pounces on the opportunity.
Just an error in D50 there. A lot of pressure on this game, and we've seen it throughout this whole quarter, but I'm starting to wonder a little bit about this jumper clash. It's very white, both the jumpers, to be able to see. So
yeah, the afternoon sun's not helping too many either, but I mean, that's not necessarily a cough up in terms of, you know, a spill, but it's whenever you're not certain with your disposal in D50, and we'll get a look at it here, that's just a handball, hoping that there's a teammate in the vicinity versus being certainly sure of what's going on and what's around you. So a lot of times you see cough-ups in D50 from tackles, and players will have that ball spilled. They're so hard to defend against, but a little bit of a different situation there. But again, if you're not sure of having a teammate in the area, you'd prefer to be sat on and have a ball up there.
He sort of went for the big Superman dive, and it pretty quickly wasn't super for Noah Howes. Straight to Caden Cleary, who again is another who's been just racking them up at this level for the Swans. Second goal of the season for Cleary. And Sydney now out to a 23-point lead. Had it as many as 25 in that opening term. Forkhead's called to move it. Former Sun kicks long down the line. Laverty just threw a boot at that karate kick style. Got it to Brown. He's dragged down inside the 50 for the Pies. A chance now tight against the boundary line for Hood. McCarthy can't keep it in.
I like when Collingwood are using their hands and they're getting the ball to the outside and getting a mark on the game. It feels like if they play this handball game, that's going to be too up and back for them for the rest of the game. But when they use their hands well and then get a mark off the back of it, I feel like they look a little bit more settled and they can get inside 50. It de-risks their entries in terms of the speed that the Sydney's going the other way as well.
Sam Doherty alongside Josh Jenkins with you. VFL Footy here on Fox. Of course, Sydney and Collingwood coming up tonight, 6:30 Eastern time at the SCG. Gold Coast hosting Yarrabilty in the other game tonight. That one up in Darwin. So a couple of intriguing games. A loaded Super Saturday as well tomorrow. Teakle takes it out of the ruck, dragged down by Ryan. Nice work from the big fella. Second season on the Swans VFL list. Had a little bit of interest from St Kilda through his season last year. Cleary takes the mark.
Oh, costly.
Turns it straight over.
Yeah, bad cough up and 50. I don't think it was the player on the mark. I think there was some traffic rolling through the protected area. And interesting that boundary throw in. So we'll see it here. Player, I was told to stand and didn't stand. So always difficult, particularly for umpires at VFL level. They probably know a lot less of the player's name. So I guess you can understand why player and umpire made the decisions they did there.
I think that's the one where he wasn't within the protected area, so he's actually expected to get out.
Liam Hood comes in, he sticks that one through, his first of the game, and Collingwood close that gap again.
It's the one that's been paid a fair bit at AFL level. It's the player that's not involved in the marking contest or anywhere near it. They're behind. For a long time, you'd run up and then run from behind and stand the mark. Now the expectation, the umpire, is if you're not in that play, you've actually got to get out of there and have no man on the mark. The man on the mark has to come from the other side. So Cleary kicks that turnover. So he's the person kicking the ball. So he's clearly nowhere near the mark. And then he's trying to run back to put some defensive pressure and stand the mark, but then gets caught in the protected zone and doesn't get out of it. So it's one that they've really sort of opened up over the last few weeks, the umpires definitely.
Yeah, players and clubs certainly still trying to get back off the mark and not guard it if they can, which is what we saw a lot of last year, which I think is the reason they've tried to tighten it up. So it's a bit of a work in progress.
A bit of grey area in all of it. Warner inside the forward 50 for Sydney. Beautiful bit of roving by Hamling. Flicks it up to Mellis. That is brilliant. Great stuff from the big man. And Mellis has got a pair.
Can get a goal whenever they need one, Sydney. That's how the game feels. Collingwood work hard, get a little bit fortunate, get a turnover and a 50-metre penalty, and then that is mitigated straight away by a goal to Sydney, and it's their stars involved again. Now, the kick inside 50 from Warner wasn't fantastic. The pickup was from Joel Hamling. He knew it straight away. That was a Superman dive handball, worthwhile, because it hit a target. Mellis, who was impressive against Casey the last time we saw him on Fox Footy. Again here, 13 disposals, a couple of goals.
Coming off 22 and 2 last week as well.
He's certainly doing himself a favour or two. It's a good time to be playing good footy.
Expected that he might have gone late in his draft year in 2019. Didn't get picked up. Of course, it was an absolutely bonkers draft. That was the Matt Rowell, Noah Anderson draft in that particular season. 24 years of age, he's still doing some good things. Pies with the clearance now and the chance to put something on the board. Kyle, Harrison, they'll just march it out of there. Chamberlain gave the handball away.
Great pressure.
Couldn't get it back. Liam Hood runs interference. Jaff pops it over the top. McCarthy's there. Can he make this work? He and Brown tried to fashion something. Straight to Pat Snell for the Swans, who kicks them back the other way. Hamling works his opponent under the footy, and Cleary will just come steaming past. Handball inside the forward 50. They are lining up everywhere at the moment, Sydney. Mellis on the top, and Caden Cleary just sprinted all the way up the broadcast wing, and he's got a 20-metre shot.
Just amazing work rate. There's about 4 of them that ran together. They shared the ball on the wing, kept running in, and Caden Cleary just worked the hardest of them all to be able to provide that option.
Cleary comes around the corner and can't finish off his work. It's kind of like the Mighty Ducks flying V coming down the field as the Mighty Swans.
You'd love to have spent some time in Sydney watching their pre-season, because this forward handball game, it looks like it's chaotic and it looks a little bit kamikaze, but gee, they must have spent some time across the summer practicing and putting it into action, because their ability to stay in sync with one another when they're doing it is remarkable.
Snell's had a real impact thus far. Kicks inside the 50. They had a couple of flyers there, Collingwood. Both probably could have marked it. The fist was elected to go for Gray. And then a big tackle in the centre of the ground, and the Swans will win it back and generate another opportunity deep forward. McLean goes upstairs, might have bopped DeBolfo on the head. Cleary, Mellis, 2 already. Squares that one up nicely. Ryan wanted to go, called to go, and he floats it out of bounds on the full.
Probably would have liked the umpire to have given him a little bit of leeway because the whistle was a little bit late. I think the umpire was probably caught up on making a decision, play on or pay the mark. The whistle came just a split second late, and Ryan thought, well, the whistle hasn't come, I better go.
Jath coming out of defence for Collingwood. Howes just slipped through the tackle. Mellis has had it more times than anyone on the ground. Looking for Hamling, can't find him on that occasion. Good tackling pressure inside forward 50 for the Swans. Giacometti locks it up.
Mellis, Cleary and Corey Warner, they're working so much harder than anyone else on the ground, and they're being rewarded for it. Mellis had the 15 touches, Cleary 12, Corey Warner 12 as well. You can see their work rate on the screen. They're in one contest, then they're inside 50.
Hanley looking for Ryan, and that Collingwood defence will be pretty happy just to step it across.
It's a nice afternoon on that little hill now. Far side of the ground with a little bit of autumn sun on the back. It's not bad.
They just roll in out of the Moore Park tram stop there and get the light rail all the way from the CBD these days to the SCG. Printable gets mobbed by a couple. Tramway Oval right in between the tram line and the SCG for those maybe Pies fans not familiar.
And they'll be on their way. Don't worry about that.
Teakle thumps it straight back up in the air. Gray tried to squeeze the kick out of defence. Topo trying to clear the area from Saxena. Jath goes in. Handball's out toward the boundary line. Inside the arc, there's no lasso, and umpire says we'll toss it back in. Swans by 24. They led by as many as 25 in the opening term. It's been goal for goal so far in this second quarter. 3 to the Swans, 2 to the Pies. Sydney 7th spot on the table coming into this one. Opportunity to try and generate something here through Phillips, former first-round pick of the Kangaroos. Short to Jath.
Oh.
Had it and lost it. Almost did the Josh Dunkley from last night.
Yeah, there was a couple of those. There was another player late in the game who, fortunately for the player, his name escapes me, but there were a couple of players. Dunkley, you could see in the moment, he was desperate to pass the footy off, and then got to the end of his run-up and thought, oh, I better try and kick it, and it was a little bit too late.
Turnover coming out of defence for the Pies, and Mellis has been taken high there. Liam Hood doesn't agree with that decision. Fantastic thus far as Mitch Mellis. The Swans will go a long way back behind halfway to set this up toward the SCG side of the ground. The sun gets ever lower out toward the west. Now, Chamberlain might have had it in the eyes there as he juggled the mark, then pops his kick over the top. Leaving it behind was Kyle. And he opened the door for Harry Kennedy to come in and then had to draw things to a close.
Well defended by the Pies there. You can see their defensive system in behind it, just sitting back. They didn't come and man the mark too much. They made sure that they didn't create any gaps for Sydney. They were exploring that. That's why they were going around to try and see if they could open up a spot. Well defended.
Teakle slaps it back over his head. Really nice stoppage work from the Pies. Marr chains it out of there and then keeps on running. Xavier Marr slips through the tackle, gets to the 50. He wanted to stop and take his free kick. The umpire waved him on and he got caught holding the ball.
I think he only wanted to stop because he looked ahead and there was no one between he and the goals. He probably should have ran on, so a little unfortunate there, and they could pay.
He just went a little bit too far with it there, did Xavier Marr. And that's a shove on Chamberlain as he was getting rid of the footy. And now some frustration starting to creep in as Sam Swadling gives away the free.
So there's the free. Oh, he's had a bounce in between, so you can understand why umpire said, no, that's play on it. And that is a free kick you like to see downfield. The shove in the back, A, dangerous, but
Absolutely.
B, unnecessary.
Yeah, well, the risk of hamstrings for that one's the worry. When you push someone in the back and they overstride, I've seen plenty of players do a hamstring doing that. So we definitely want that one in the game. Tough shot from here.
Oh, we've got a very good look at it, though. To Javan Philippou.
Will he run the arc here? He's going to go the other foot.
He will. He gets onto the right peg and drags it to the left.
Looks competent on both sides of the body, Philippou. So we know Mateus is incredibly talented and a fairly gifted athlete as well.
He's very explosive. He's Javan Philippou. Tested really well in the running vertical jump at the combine a couple of years ago.
Well, we've seen that in Mateus' game with some aerial prowess as well. So gifted family athletically, and I'll be quite happy with his progress and development at VFL level.
Out of Woodville West Torrens, South Australian under-18 program. Swans by 25 points. The other game early today, the Cats won by 66. Jack Bowes, having been dropped, responded with 40 and 2 goals too. He had 22 and 2 goals at half-time. It's an absolute rainmaker inside the forward 50.
Better give big Sam Jacobs a shout-out, who runs the Woodville West Torrens program. If he finds out we've mentioned the club but not him, he'll be disappointed.
He'll be flat. Long kick out from De Bolfo. Hand on it, and it spills out of play. Clearance is even in this second term, so Nick Malcheski won't need to know that stat because there's nothing in it.
Just got to hang tough here, Collingwood. Ball's being played in Sydney's half of the ground exclusively here in this back half of the second term. So just got to try and hold up and limit the damage on the scoreboard.
Boundary throw in favoured Ryan. He tried to do the roving work as well. Philippou with a blind hand pass. Shipley eventually reeled that football in. It was just right on his fingertips. He got his kick away down the line, looking for Gray. Giacometti's dragged across the boundary line.
This is where the AFL group for the Pies would understand. We're up against it. Ball's being played in our back half. Let's find some uncontested marks. Let's sort of limp our way to half-time, and then we can reset in this third term. So a bunch, you know, a chain of 4 or 5 uncontested marks would be a really good thing for the Pies.
Ryan down decisively. Swadling stands up in the tackle. Got it away powerfully in the end. Woden kicks to half forward. The former D turns it over. Snell stands in the way again. Part of that Sydney defence that's been pretty resolute thus far. Both defensive units have been fairly solid.
Collingwood have played a +1 here, so that's why you can see the Sydney starting to go a bit sideways because they're looking up and they're seeing an extra number behind the ball.
Great pressure from young McMenamin to force the turnover.
Interesting vocals from boundary side as well. Stay connected, so potentially some of the Sydney forwards just lengthening a little bit too quick, looking for those easy ones versus staying close enough so that they can compete on any long balls.
Snell puts his fist through it. Trying to whack it out of there for the Swans is Gibbs. He does, but straight to Swadling. Almost had the Kevin Bartlett opportunity to run onto his own hand pass. Cleary pops it over the top. Giacometti can't handle it. Swadling goes back in. Offloads. Hood inside 50. A massive rise there from Podmore Taylor. It's hooked around the body and offline.
Just on that stay connected message, that's what happens when you're playing. We've just seen the big fly here from the big fella, but when you're playing against speed, if you put a +1 behind the ball, that's going to slow them down. It's going to force them to play, Sydney to play a bit more long down the line, which is where you need your forwards in these contests here.
Xavier Laverty with 1 goal, 4 on the game so far. After he missed that one, 24 points is the margin.
Here we
go. Lightning hand pass from Cleary. Warner tried to break the tackle. Just had his leg held. Still got the handball away. They're working in a phone booth at the moment, the Swans. Hannelly curls it inside the 50. Hamling can't hang on to it. Laddams might be a chance from the pocket. He's probably going to have a crack from there as well. Pete Laddams, he squares it up, and Cleary reels it in.
You get an opportunity defensively. All these handballs, you will get an opportunity. You've just got to go, and someone's got to put their hand up, identify where that ball's going, and then just stick the tackle.
And you can see all the numbers in the screen then. There was an extra behind the ball. Sydney tried to handball their way through it. That drew the extra up. So when they went inside 50, it was even numbers there in the Swans. But as you said, Collingwood had their opportunity to turn that ball over.
Caden Cleary strides in and sinks another one. 2 on the afternoon for Caden Cleary. And again, he is having a huge impact for the Swans as they get that lead out to a game-high 5 goals.
Yeah, so we were talking about that late in this quarter. More experienced team in Sydney. They've been playing the game in their half, and Collingwood got the clearance win, went fast, it was turned over, and from there they just couldn't quite win the ball back and stop Sydney. They had opportunities, but the experience of Sydney, the hardened bodies, particularly at VFL level, were just a little bit too good there. Hamling probably should have marked that footy in a one-on-one, then Laddams found a way to get it to the top of the goal square, and it was a good finish from Cleary, who is really prolific. Only the 4 kicks, but he's had 14 total disposals, 2 goals, 1 on the afternoon. So he's building into a nice game.
It's the contested possession that he's going so well. He's had the 8 contested possessions of his 14, and 6 of them as ground balls. So he's working around the ground, and we spoke about that earlier. His work rate to get to contests and win loose balls and ground ball gets across the ground. That's a valuable thing to be doing at the moment in AFL level.
Starts a lot of those chains for the Swans, and he's been on the end of a couple as well so far today, just through sheer work rate.
Both teams have had more handballs than kicks, which is very rare to see. Usually not a surprise to see Sydney to have a few more handballs than kicks, but Collingwood have gone into that mode too.
Collingwood averaging 57 fewer disposals than their opponents so far this season. They're not a super high possession team, as we know Sydney like to flick it around as they have done so far. Prindable, Swaddling, left foot inside the 50, attacking it at pace was Smith. Couldn't drag it in to take it away with him. Coming out of there is Geddes for the Swans. Cleary's on the end of it once more. Again, they'll try and build something up here. Detoli, handball was just a little bit too hot for him, and Harrison intercepted it nicely. Collingwood can gain some control back in the contest. Jacob Ryan at halfback, 4th season on the Collingwood list. Comes out, finds Ma.
This is okay now. Find 2 or 3. Okay, let's find none.
Or not. Harry Kyle sends it back inside the 50. Well, they found a mark. It was in the wrong team's colours, and Hamling's got a shot for his 3rd.
Look, the idea was right. Just late in the quarter, there's probably, a minute or so remaining. Let's take the heat out of the game, find an uncontested mark, the old 80-20 rule. If you're 80% sure, take it. And unfortunately, it was turned over immediately. So I like the idea, just not the execution, and it does present Hamling with another opportunity to get a 3rd goal.
He sizes the kick up, drags it away to the left, and it stays there. So 4 goals, 4 in the quarter for the Swans. 2-1 for the Pies. That's an impressive mark. Oscar Forkhead pulls it in. Wanted to get up and move it straight away. Man out of Wentworth. Swaddling sockers it off the ground inside the 50. That'll work. Mark not paid.
Must have just hit the ground, just bobbled out. And
little bump ball for Laverty, who's really had an almost game in this first half. 1 goal, 4. He had another one pinched, and then he wasn't paid the mark there.
He thinks he marked it.
And so we get to half-time. The Swans out by 31 points, the biggest lead they've had in the game. Let's take another look at this one.
So he gets down to it, it looks like it comes out.
Yeah, no mark for me.
You can understand why the umpire said no mark.
Yeah, would have needed the DRS across the road at a different time of year. It is the Swans by 31 points at half-time. 9-7 plays, 4-6, 2 to Hamling, 2 to McLean, 2 to Cleary, and 2 to Mellis. So they have shared it around, and as we would expect from them, JJ, that running game has been really powerful.
Yeah, it has, and it's clear and obvious to us watching from afar and assessing it and telling Collingwood how to stop it. But in real time, it's so much harder to defend, in part because it's so unique. Now, that's the query for me long term with the Swans at both levels. Are we giving them too long in terms of the opposition to scout it and prepare for it? But today, it's working beautifully.
31-point lead for the Swans. Let's get some reaction. Steph Clarkson.
Joined here by Corey Warner. Corey, that was a great first half from you. How are you feeling?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we're going all right. I think we really wanted to bounce back after last week, so we're showing some pretty good signs early.
You had a really good clearance. You were leading the clearance for the game. Nick Malcheski at quarter time, when I asked him about the clearance battle, didn't even have an idea about what the numbers were. Is that not something that you guys focus on?
I wouldn't say we don't focus on it. We're probably just really worried about our pressure today and more defensive efforts. I think clearances and that will come off the back of that, so it's probably not at the forefront, but yeah, we don't dismiss it, that's for sure.
Collingwood are adding that pressure. You guys usually find your handball chain to be a really, really strong, positive way to get the ball up. They have been able to limit that a little bit. How are you going to make sure that you get on top of that in the second half?
Yeah, I think a lot of the time you probably have another half a second, so for a lot of us we're just dishing handballs. They might be a little bit behind, so just making sure we hit them well and backing our game plan in, and we should come out on top, yeah, hopefully.
Thanks for joining us, Corey. Good luck for the second half.
15 to goal in the first half for Corey Warner, part of the engine room, driving the Swans. They lead by 31 at half-time. We'll get Doc and JJ's thoughts on the other side of this. Friday afternoon footy here at Tramway Oval. It's the Sydney Swans who've done most of the attacking in this first half. The Marn Group game still to come tonight here on Fox Footy. And the Swans are off to a hot start here in the VFL clash that precedes it. A 31-point lead at half-time. Their pressure's been immense. That running game has been strong. Joel Peterson, Sam Doherty and Josh Jenkins with you here at half-time as we take a look at what we've seen in this first half so far. And the Swans got up and running early on. A couple of these out-the-back goals, Doc, and that was a real feature of their game. And as we'll talk about, Corey Warner's been central to it all.
Yeah, absolutely. Their ability to turn the ball over in deep 50 and get it inside 50 and score has been a big feature of the way they've scored. They've kicked the 2 goals 3 from that aspect, which is quite high. But Corey Warner's been outstanding. We spoke about him pre-game. He's had the 15 disposals in the first half, so he's on track for to get his average of 32. So we'll keep that alive. But outstanding first half by Corey.
Yeah, the defence for both teams has been pretty strong in certain periods, JJ. We've spoken about the fact that Collingwood's defenders have been pretty good. Just out the back goals like that to Hayden McLean have made it tough.
Yeah, you can't stop those goals. That's a problem from up the field. They did get beaten early a little bit late in the second term. Again, it's a younger team, you know, getting fatigued, losing a little bit of concentration, but they are giving themselves opportunities. You've got to stop doing those types of things and giving Sydney easy goals because they're good enough to create enough of their own. The Pies here got a cheap one with a cheap turnover from Cleary and then a 50-metre penalty, but all in all, great pickup at ground level from Hamling, who's played a really good part in this game with a couple of goals and 9 disposals. But it's about where the game should be. Sydney are clearly a stronger outfit, and 31 points is probably a reasonable representation of what we've seen.
Mitch Mellis important in those highlights as well. He's had it 15 times in the first half, as has Corey Warner. And we spoke about how important he is to this team, and his running ability's been on show. He's had the 5-score involvement, 7 inside 50s. His tackle pressure today as well, JJ. So he's just doing everything he can to try and stake his claim.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's all you can do. Now, the role he's going to be asked to play at AFL level, unless a Heaney or his brother or another midfielder goes down, he's going to have to come in and play high half forward. So difficult for him because on game day in the VFL, he's playing inside mid, and then through the week, he's probably continuing to work on the roles that the high half forwards play.
So it's a 5-goal lead to the Swans at half-time. 61 plays, 30. Still more to come. There's a lot of work to do for the Pies on the other side of this second half. 31-point lead to Sydney at half-time. VFL Friday footy here on Fox. And their ball movement, Sydney, has been exemplary as always. Caden Cleary, Corey Warner, Mitch Mallis have been a part of all of it. There you see just the sheer work rate and run from Caden Cleary. Couldn't finish off with a goal on that occasion, but he has been key to everything. On the other side of the coin, it's been an almost game for big Xavier Laverty so far, Doc. 1 goal for. He had another one pinched off him. He made a really bright start to this game. He just hasn't been able to finish off his work.
Yeah, absolutely. He's looked great. He's provided a contest when Collingwood have gone forward. He's provided options. He's got shots on goal, but he's just been a little bit untidy in front of the big sticks. And as you said, one of the boys played on from his free kick that he got, but options. Kicks like that, you'd hope he'd finish, and same with this one here. They're kind of bread and butter for a forward to be able to have a big afternoon. You need to be able to finish those ones. So an almost afternoon, hoping for a big second half from him.
Second game for the man for the Wangaratta Magpies, and he's going pretty well. This is what's coming up tonight here on Fox Footy. Sydney and Collingwood, of course, in the Marngrook game at the SCG. Gold Coast and Yardabalti. A big Saturday, Super Saturday of Fox. So Box Hill and Richmond in the VFL kicks us off. Goanna and North Melbourne. Then Narm and Hawthorn, Carlton and the Bulldogs. There's a little bit in all of those contexts. And then the Sunday ticket, Essendon play while you're up. Euroke and Richmond, Woolwich Murray and the GWS Giants before bounce and first crack as well. So plenty to come across the course of the weekend. Plenty to come here at Tramway Oval as well. The second half is after this. It's the Swans by 5 goals. Glorious Friday afternoon conditions here at Tramway Oval. VFL Footy on Fox to set you up for a massive Friday night of action. It's the Swans 9-7 playing Collingwood 4-6 at halftime. Joel Peterson, Josh Jenkins and Sam Doherty with you. The Swans kicking 4 goals in that second term to open up the gap. The Magpies with only 2, but they are still in this game, Collingwood. They are undermanned. They had quite a few outs coming into this game, and they are hanging around in this contest. Let's check in at ground level. Steph Clarkson.
Hey guys, well, I don't think I'm the most trustworthy person to tell the weather right now. I was about to say, sun's out, shining, it's beautiful. Just before the start of the game, I said it wasn't going to rain. Started raining a little bit, but supposedly sun is going to be out. It's been shining. I think I actually got a little bit sunburnt during that second quarter. Now, I went down into the Swans rooms at halftime. We heard on the bench someone scream out, "Stay connected." That was Hayden McLean. He was leading the chat with the forwards down in the rooms at halftime and was really, really adamant on making sure that they stayed connected in their handball chain and getting it to the forward. At quarter time, the Pies were really insistent on trying to get their space between themselves and their player shortened. It was really, really big focus and led by Nathan Murphy, who obviously was a former Collingwood player and made to retire a little bit early. So that was really interesting to see. Judias also spent some time with Craig McRae trying to figure out how he would get his feet better positioned. So interesting to see in the second half if he changes the way that he plays a little bit and manipulates how his feet and footwork are working, guys.
Interesting stuff. Thank you, Steph, as the Pies make their way out onto the ground for this second half in their Indigenous round jumper for Sir Doug Nicholls round, designed by Jed Ben, all the same as their AFL jumper. It's all themed around Bobby Hill, who is expecting his third child with his partner soon. So all the very best of luck to the Hill family. And there go the Pies. A little bit of a different setup here at Tramway. It's a little bit of local footy vibes, which we love. We haven't heard Mr. Whippy yet, JJ, which I'm disappointed about.
Well, I'm kind of happy because we didn't get any access last time. We just had to listen to it all afternoon. So, yeah, I'm happy if Mr. Whippy's having the afternoon off.
Hey, Doc, 20 disposal for Sam Swadling. He's had a busy first half for the Pies.
Yeah, he has. A pick 37 last year's draft. He's had an outstanding start to the game in 20 disposals. He's had the 9 handball receives, 2 inside 50s, 7 contested possessions. It's a really great start to the game. Looking forward to a big second half. I'll be honest, Joel, I haven't seen this happen too many times where players have ran straight out on the ground, no warm-up, no meeting between the players or a little huddle to talk about the game. No captain's address, just straight out to position. And it was amazing on the screen just then to watch them all run out.
Not even back at the Phillip Island Bulldogs back in the day?
It is reminding me back that far, but it's I haven't seen it at AFL or VFL level where they run straight off the ground, straight out into position.
Hold them into the huddle and then just... Let's go out there, boys, and get going. That's exactly what they're going to do. Second half underway here at Tramway Oval. So will it work for the Pies? That's the next question. The Swans will get the first clearance of this second half. Laddams hoisted high to half forward. Swadling, there he is. Disposal number 21 as he flipped it up to McMenamin. Pinched by Mellis. A couple already. Mitch Mellis just walks it in. And he is having some kind of afternoon.
Outstanding piece of play.
What a start. What a start. 27 seconds, if you don't mind, Doc. It's a handy start to the third quarter. The mark had to be taken at half-back for Collingwood. Then the cough up. We've talked about that all afternoon. Coughing up that footy. Chris Scott's a big one. He's probably the coach that is hot on the cough-ups the most that I've been around. He would prefer you to get done holding the ball because at least it takes 5, 6, 7 seconds for that to happen and you can get back. When you cough it up like that, no chance at all. And Malice is going to go big. 17 disposals and 3 goals. He is... Joel, he is just reminding a few, if you need someone on the list, Sean Manor style, I'm ready and willing and capable.
Career high at VFL level for Mitch Mellis. Played a few games with Williamstown in 2021. And he is going really, really well at the moment. 3 goals on his afternoon. Laddams forces it out once more. Free kick and advantage to the Swans. Filippo, Giacometti. Floats the handball forward for Dottoli. He had Longmire there. Jath was closing down on him. Cleary claimed the mark. Handball back to Longmire. And that Pies defence tries to stand up. They'll have a free kick opportunity here as well. Woden He'll have it from inside the defensive 50. Lays the right of his green boots into it to send it outside the arc. Podmore Taylor tried to keep it in, and the safety of the boundary line was there.
So, slow start for Collingwood, only travelled 2 minutes, but you can already feel Sydney have come out with some intent. Nick Malcheski, I think at different stages, has been a little frustrated. Once you feel good about yourself as a solid team, you can easily go away from what you need to be doing. So the focus for Sydney here, first 10 minutes, let's go back and nail what we want to nail, and then the game will take care of itself and we'll get our opportunities.
We spoke to Caden Cleary just before half-time, and the mention was around pressure and defence. There was nothing about offence. It was about bringing some defensive pressure on the game, and you can see that in the way they're playing.
Marnie stepping through at the contest for the Pies. Phillips starts the chain forward. Woden swaddling, striding and kicking to half forward. Lovely delivery up there. Hood's on the end of it. Puts it to the pocket, and the big fella Laverty, this is his spot. This is where he likes it. It's just a matter of can he finish from here.
Yeah, indeed. 1 goal, 4 in the first half. 5 of his 6 disposals were scoring shots, and look at his age with his size, clearly new to VFL footy. He'd start to grab some attention, I'd reckon. Stands about 194, so a little bit undersized for an AFL key forward, but he's got plenty of potential.
He strikes that with the left boot, and he wobbles it into the post. 1 goal, 5.
You're right, though. He looks great. He's leading well. He's providing a great contest. He's taken a couple of contested marks. Everything that you need in an AFL forward.
Of course, he had the mark inside the 50, and they played on and didn't kick the goal from it. He's the target again. It's bashed away from him by Kyle. Saxena keeps it alive. He's pushed across the boundary line and over and out.
I don't think his O&M team will be seeing him for a little while if he had plans, or if they had plans on getting him back.
The Wang Magpies might need to go without him for a bit.
Yeah, he'll be wearing the Magpies jumper, but it won't be theirs.
Well, not the first to come from that part of the world and go pretty nicely. Of course, they had Joe Richards a couple of years ago, who was a great mature age success story, now operating with Port Adelaide, or Yardabulti as they're called in this Sir Doug Nicholls round. Here come the Swans, chaining it off half-back. Giacometti kicks up the line, and Longmire sold that one pretty nicely.
It's a good sell job because it was 1v3. Collingwood had worked hard across there, so good shift defensively from the Pies. Unfortunate to give up the free kick and now the entry against.
Longmire sends it inside the arc. McLean had 2 hands up, couldn't take the mark. Swaddling stayed down and shot the handball out to Printable. On the bounce, Saxena at half-back. Just gives a little bit of ground to Forkhead, and now Printable can keep on running. Swaddling coming off half-back. Tried to measure the kick for Phillips. Dropped the mark. Saxena had the option there over the top. Elected to kick a little bit longer than that up toward Laverty. Hood comes through. Can't take it. Kyle paddles it back the other way for the Swans. Warner's involved, as is Filippo. When they're involved, normally good things happen. Hanley can't take the mark. He shrugs the couple and the tackle, sends it to the goal square, and Joel Hamling with an absolute dolly for another one for him.
Good unselfish play there, but just great pressure on the wing again to be able to turn the ball over and go inside 50. It's been a feature of the Swans game today. As much as they've been offensive, the defence has been outstanding. And again, as we see on the screen here, just the forward handball, they're all on the same page. Had the opportunity to turn the ball over the Pies, but good unselfish play by Hanley.
And that's the coaching point for Collingwood. You know, did those players behind the footy make an early enough decision to come forward? Because you almost got there, but you didn't get there, and it costs us as a team a goal. Was there enough pressure up the field at the origin or the source? So they're the learnings for Collingwood, and particularly their young defenders. How quickly they're making decisions, because if you're half a second off, it's goals against, and that's what we're seeing.
We've seen both AFL coaching teams out there supporting their VFL counterparts as well, which has been great to see. Pies with a deep entry here. Teakle. Shipley measured it nicely in defence. Just worked his way through that intelligently, did Nick Shipley, the former Giants. That's a poor kick exiting. Opens the door for Brown. Corey Warner was down on bended knee, not infringing in the protected area. Almost the opportunity there for Harrison. Couldn't hang on to it. Little one through the traffic from Max Marnie. And now the setup for Ma. Off a step, tried to fashion it goalward. And it's rushed through by the Swans defence.
This is the best, I reckon, we've seen from Sydney in across the 2 and a bit quarters. Their intensity defensively and their sharpness defensively. 2 players getting after the ball carrier. This is a really strong start to the third term from Sydney.
Kai Gibbs comes bouncing out of half-back, and the Swans turn it over. Chamberlain over the top of Jaff. In the back, says the umpire. Jaff will take it at the left half forward. Sun peeking through the clouds once more. Sends it as far as he can. Up in the pack was McCarthy. Brilliant bit of roving out of the pack by Saxena, who kicks a magnificent goal for his second.
Goal from nothing there. It's a great piece of defence by Giath on the wing here to be able to come forward and stop the handball that Sydney had, and then largely a bit of a nothing entry. I was hoping to see lower the eyes to be able to get a more dangerous entry, but great crumbing, and that just shows you how good being clean is. It creates things when things aren't there, but great clean hands, well snapped over his shoulder, and a good and much needed goal by the Pies.
Yeah, nice finish, great goal sense from Saxena there, and that's what Collingwood are going to need. I mean, you know, the ship has probably sailed in terms of winning the game, but remaining competitive, giving yourself a chance to be able to hold your head high when the game's finished. Those are the little moments that individuals need to take. Of course, Laverty hasn't quite been able to take his, but he's presenting and giving himself a chance to hit the scoreboard, and Saxena has hit the scoreboard a couple of times.
Lots to like about what a few young Pies are doing up front. Ma with the clearance. Hands it off to Harry Kennedy. He drives it forward. Laverty was the target of the kick. Now combined through Gibbs and Shipley. Leaving it behind. It's Andriacchio. Kyle with a chance to send it back the other way for the Swans. Shipley so assured in defence. Kyle had a bit of a fumble below his knees. They work it out in the end. Warner so creative with the footy. Slips a couple of tackles. Laddams wants to try and get evasive. Again, they go with that forward hand pass. Shipley, Cleary. Andriacchio inside the arc now. And Jath stands in the road on the last line.
It's good work from the Pies. There's 4 or 5 opportunities there for Sydney to break through. They can't. Unfortunately, probably going to turn this ball over. We'll have a stoppage eventually, but there are opportunities just staying with it, just trying to complete the pressure and complete the moment, and they don't turn the ball over, but they force a dirty entry.
Chamberlain whacks it really deep. Howes with the kill, straight down to Longmire, who runs into an open goal.
Just too many flying there. I think there was 3 or 4 Pies in the air. Leaves Longmire on the ground, and a nice piece of crumbing, well positioned from where the spoil was coming, and a nice finish. But as you spoke about, JJ, the pressure that the Pies are putting on is outstanding. They're doing absolutely everything they can apart from just turn the ball over. They're there, they're putting pressure on, they're getting their opportunities to do that, but they just can't quite finish their plays. That keeps Sydney in their forward half, and Sydney have just been so prolific on their offense today. Jed Longmire joins in for the party with a goal here.
That's where you see it. At AFL level for the Pies, they often can be a little bit happy to go aerially, have 2 or 3 in the air, and that's fine, but you've either got to take the intercept mark or spoil that ball out of the area. It was a soft drop and not enough representation at ground level, so no problems going for the footy aerially. If you decide to mark or spoil, that's fine. You've just got to make sure you get maximum contact and get it out of the area.
Grass looks absolutely luminescent in this late afternoon sun. Trindable pumps the Pies inside the 50. Geddes, Harrison under pressure, out to Gibbs. Andriacchio at half-back. Out of the Glebe Greyhounds. Now Harrison, he runs it forward. Warner onto the left boot. 2-on-1 inside the arc. The numbers are there. Hamling drags it in underneath himself. They dive upon him. Umpire circles the pack and says, I'll have it.
He's had some aerial opportunities in one-on-ones. Hamling, he will be a bit frustrated with himself there, the 1v1s, particularly against smaller, less experienced opponents you want to take advantage of and give yourself a chance to kick 4, 5, 6 goals.
3 goals, 2 on the afternoon for Joel Hamling. 8 marks for him so far. Leads the competition in contested marks at 3 and a bit a game. A lot of those down in defence, but he's been stationed exclusively up front today. Ladham's doing it slightly unorthodox in ruck.
I'd love to see he and Grundy go at it in the pre-season because Grundy's a little bit unorthodox too. They'd have some interesting contests, the big pair of them.
Mellis hooks it around the body. Steaming out is Noah Howes. How's his exit kick? It's magnificent. Nice bit of work from the big fella. Saxena, he's got a couple on the day. He's off with a little bit of dash out of halfback. Corralled by Giacometti. Worked it nicely for McCarthy. Right in front of Anzac Parade. See the light rail tram emerging from the tunnel that goes underneath the road. Ferrying people to the SCG for the Swans and the Pies tonight at AFL level. You'll see that right here on Fox Footy. Gold Coast and Yarrabalti the other game as part of your Friday night here on Fox. Kennedy with the setup kick. There's a lot of bodies going down in that pocket.
I think McCarthy will get himself a free kick here.
Right you are, JJ.
He was just taken down. Occasionally it can be handy to be light and not as strong as your opponent because you can be taken to ground and it can look a free kick, but I guess that body work's done a little bit too early and a little bit unnecessarily. So McCarthy, who flew at the footy really well at the previous inside 50, which resulted in a score for the Pies, gets himself another chance. He's just playing his role.
3 goals on the season so far, looking for his second today. He lets himself down with a finish.
It's one part of the game that the Pies have been really, really good at is their transition out of their back half. They're going from D50 to inside 50 40% of the game, so they're getting the ball down there. They're just not able to score as well as they'd like from down there at the moment, but in terms of the transition and using the ball up the field, they're doing that really well.
They trail by 40 points. We saw a couple of weeks ago the Swans lead by 49 against Casey before the Demons came back to make that close toward the end of the game.
Dynamic athlete, Corey Warner. Chad's the same. Chad just looks at opponents and laughs at them and then has a bounce on his way toward goal. And Corey's a dynamic-looking athlete too.
Been fended off by Chad Warner a few times in my career.
Not a lot of fun, Doc?
No, him and Dusty weren't much fun, I'll tell you that much.
Who was worse?
Dusty used to get me in round 1 nearly every year, I reckon, so I'll say him.
Cleary wins the free kick here. Oscar Forkhead reluctantly tosses the footy back to him. Cleary from bang on halfway. Kicks up toward the arc. Mitch Mellis throws a boot at it, can't keep it in. Chamberlain was towing the boundary line as well, and then Howes is driven across in front of the lake here, the Kipax Lake, just off to the side in that right forward pocket. And after the former Australian Test cricketer, Alan Kipax. It's sort of one of those places where everything around the ground, the SCG, is named after generally someone who played Test cricket. Even the bridge, the Tibby Cotter Bridge that you can see behind the goals at this northern end. Running out of room is Caligari. Swans by 40 points, led by as many as 42 earlier in this term. 16 at quarter time, 31 at half time, 4-2 on the season. The Pies 2-4. They've lost a few of their most important players at this level to AFL duty for later tonight. Good bit of work there from Charlie Peters to run that kick down.
This game's presenting where AFL footy's gone. It's Collingwood winning clearance, winning contested possession, But Sydney clearly winning the game. It shows you how much of football's changed into that transition, and we've seen one of the best teams at it today in terms of handball receives, handballing forward, running in waves, but that's the way the game's gone.
Terrific tackle. Jaff got brought down. And the Swans will be rewarded for their work. Julian Caligari will get a look at it.
It's been quiet on the afternoon. This will just be second kick, 8th disposal in total, but it's just got plenty of players who can pop up. They've got their stars, they've got their established AFL talent who dominate week to week at VFL level, but plenty of players. We've spoken a lot about Mellis and Geddes, but Longmire's bobbed up, and now Caligari gets his chance.
Man out of the Wodonga Raiders. Kicks goalward and gets it there. His first goal of the season. And the Swans continue to stretch that advantage. Now out to 46 points.
Nick Malcheski will be wrapped with that one. We spoke about defence and tackles and pressure. That's exactly what that was. Jaff picks up the ball here and just straight away Hamling in his face. And then Caligari finishes the tackle, gets holding the ball, and nice finish off the back of it. But as a coach, and as we spoke about earlier, there was a fight back by Casey last week. You want your team to be able to play through to the end in terms of that defensive side of the game, and the Swans are definitely doing that today. Always
feel for the players in Jaff's situation, because you pick up the footy, you instinctively spin and get her out of a tackle, and then bang, you almost need a little secondary prize so that you've got an opportunity, because the second tackle hits him before he even knows it's there, and almost always that player is gone.
Back to that same point, sometimes you're better off just driving through the first tackle rather than spinning, because the spin will give you your prior up. If you drive through it, you might not get done.
Particularly in D50, where you don't want to be getting done for holding the footy.
Free kick out of the middle here for the Pies. Harrison rewarded. Kicks inside the 50. A big rise from McCarthy. Couldn't take it with him. And then a flying shot out of the back. Floats out of bounds on the full from Forkhead.
Had more time then. Kicked it straight away, but he could have steadied himself for a couple of steps.
Good jump. Second time we've seen McCarthy jump up, and that's all athleticism. He was up at the highest point before he landed on the opponent, so sharp athleticism from him. He's got good size, good long arms, and clearly happy to jump at the footy.
He's got a bit of bounce, as young Zach McCarthy, as does Mitch Mellis, who sprints forward. Off to Cleary. Cleary inside the 50. And that is way too easy. Tom Ryan will get a look from the pocket.
We've seen that a few times today, that exact same script. It's kick to the contest out of the back half, win that, and then they're just off to the races. Forwards lengthening, and a nice kick out the back. It's a forwards dream, a key forwards dream being played out today, JJ. You found yourself on a few, I reckon.
I had a look down at the stat sheet, and I looked back up, and Tom Ryan's got the footy inside 50.
Ryan tries to curl this one home, and does so pretty nicely. He wasn't convinced by it. Goal umpire was. That's all that matters. And the Swans get 14. Tom Ryan gets his first. Young man out of Port Macquarie, moved to Sydney for uni. His cousin Samson playing in Tigers colours.
Yep. I can see that about him athletically. There's a little resemblance about him.
Had a bit of interest when he came to Sydney last year from both the Swans and St Kilda. And you think at a nice size, 195, and still young in his career, there might be some interest in future years as well.
Well, can I give him some advice at VFL level where we haven't got the arc in play?
Yeah. Celebrate.
If it's close, just celebrate.
Great shout.
He almost convinced the goal umpire into thinking that was a miss. So just go up regardless.
You know what? The way the arc's working at the moment, I'd celebrate even at AFL level.
Absolutely.
Well, Mason Cox tried it. Problem is the ball smashed into the post.
Moral of the story is if you think it's close, just make sure you
go up.
Yep, let them know that you think it's there. Here's Smith steaming inside forward 50 and shooting goalward. That's a very sharp finish from the big man.
Rather athletic, Smith. He's done a few really nice things today in terms of just his movement around the ground. He's a lightly framed big fella, but his ability to move and athletically get around the contest has been outstanding, and this is a great finish to be able to get the handball and steady his legs and finish from 50. It's a great finish by the big guy.
You're right, he has done some nice things across the afternoon, few and far between, but he's emerging and building his game. Only had a handful of disposals, but some of the ground balls that we've seen from him have been pretty good. So he's got great size. Hone his craft in the ruck. Going up against Peter Laddams is a great test for him.
The self-described Big Roo, Big Illaroo Smith. And self-described as in that's his website address, bigroo.au. That you can go there and find out a bit more about the big man.
Nice.
Might be a little highlight posted there throughout the week, I think.
We might have just tripled his web traffic.
Quite possibly. There's a free kick inside forward 50 for the Swans.
5 people might click on that now.
He's certainly doing himself plenty of favours with the way he's going about it. You don't need to see much from young ruckman to be able to see what it can look like in 3 or 4 years' time.
Free kick for Hamling here. We've spoken about him. 3 goals, 2 on the day thus far. He gets a little bit of a freebie here. He struts in and buries it. 4 goals, 2 for Joel Hamling. Swung forward today with very good effect.
Absolutely. Absolutely. From experience, I can tell you, once you're in the back half or certainly the end, closer to the end of your career, now Hamling's probably got some more footy ahead of him, but he's certainly closer to the end than the start. It can be hard to get motivated to play VFL footy, 2 p.m. on a Friday afternoon. You'd prefer to be inside at the SCG, you're out on Tramway Oval. But when you're a forward playing in this system, I think Joel Hamling is having no troubles getting himself enthused. 4 goals, 2 is a very nice reward for his effort.
Well, and we've seen across the afternoon, the decision and the reaction of their forwards have been outstanding. And I think the whole of the Swans will be absolutely ecstatic with the way that this has looked today in terms of sticking to their system, their defensive side of the game, their handball, their forwards lengthening. Everything's gone the way that they wanted to.
Had a bit of a flirtation with the Giants in the off-season. Joel Hamling stayed in Swans colours. He's got 4 goals today. 9 goals, 3 on the season. He's 4-2 this afternoon. Here's Cleary, who continues to rack them up. Hamling might get another look. He got a couple of hands to that. There was 3 Magpies swooping in on that contest. They are awake to the threat.
Frustrated with himself. He has actually left a couple on the table, particularly in one-on-one marking contests, body to body for the most part. That one was one where he was running and jumping, and straight afterward, you could see him with a smile on his face. He thought he should have marked it.
Cleary with 24 and 2, been absolutely prolific for the Swans. I'll draw the stoppage here. Kennedy's over the top of Detoli. Jesse Detoli missed considerable time last year with a back injury. Trying to work his way into that AFL side, which is no mean feat for the Sydney Swans. But Swaddling just step his way out of defence. Phillips flicks it over the top. McCarthy's pressed up high, looking for the hand pass back to Swaddling. Goes down on hands and knees, trying to get it up to McCarthy, and Snell takes it away. And they come at you like lightning, this Sydney team, flicking it forward and running it into trouble in the end. Bouncing kick back the other way. A boot was lost in there by Harrison. Chamberlain. Lovely kick inside the 50. And Filippo elevates to pull in the mark.
I think that's really noticeable, particularly if you go back and watch that last 45 seconds of play. Sydney ask a lot of you physically with the way they want to play the game, with this high handball game, and particularly if you're going to engage in handball game when you've got the footy. That was basically, 3 passages. The Swans had it, the Pies won it back, went to handball, and the Swans won it back again. That's very taxing on teams.
He's gone back with no intention to pass this. Javan Filippo from right on the 50. He sets his sights goalward, and he got mightily close. He hits the post.
They test you physically, but they test you mentally as well. They spread the ground so well. They make the pressing decisions of the defenders of the Pies today. They make them so hard because you're just that metre or 2 further than you want to be when you're putting pressure on and trying to press the ground. So it makes it a much harder decision.
Game high 53-point lead. Snell with the intercept for the Swans. Can whack it back in there. That's going to be the mark paid by the looks. Smith, who's floated back there.
Team mark as much as anything. I think both Pies defenders had a little bit of a piece of it.
It's the old team rebound in basketball.
Yeah, it's a team rebound, but give it to me on the stat sheet.
Jath whacks it out of defence. Teagle got a knee in the back from Laddams. Not particularly an enviable position. Harrison hemmed in along the boundary line. Kick not the distance as he just gives some grounds. Here's Harry Di Mattia. You mentioned Brady Gray's a bit of a throwback. JJ Di Mattia the same with the headband, the flowing locks and the big moustache as well to go with it. Swans enter the 50 and Andriacchio will send it back the other way and they can counter-punch with some interest here, Sydney. Harrison inside the arc. McLean might have to do a bit of work at ground level here. De Bolfo right there with him. Kennedy's there to collect for Collingwood. Howes with a bit of time and the composure to match.
He uses the ball pretty well, Howes, out of the back half for a bigger guy.
Oh, Jath got caught, had it knocked loose. Now it's nervous moments for this Collingwood defence. Swans sense the opportunity once more. Peters, Malice, hoists one into the sunshine. Cleary got whacked, trying to take the mark. Spills down to Giacometti around the body. Terrific finish. And Luke Giacometti helps Sydney raise the bat.
Just not sure you want to be playing this game against Sydney if you're the Pies. They're going, I commend them in a sense that they're just going after the handball game as well, but Sydney are just so well set in this facet of the game in terms of their ability to use the ball via hands, but also to put pressure on. The more Collingwood try and handball their way through, the more it looks like, from the Swans' perspective, that they're just living in an environment that they love to be in.
Yeah, I'd suggest, we've seen some of the Collingwood AFL coaching staff there. I think the message will be, because you see so much translate from the VFL game to the AFL game, I think the message will be to Collingwood tonight, don't fall for engaging in this high handball game. We need to find our periods of the game where we can chip mark, take time and sting out of the clock, and basically defend with the ball in our hands so that we don't fall in the trap of just playing a fast game.
The Swans have it on their terms. At three-quarter time, they have opened up their biggest lead of the game. 59 points with a quarter to go. Sydney well and truly on top. Friday Arvo Footy here on Fox. It's been the best of Supercharged Sydney to three-quarter time. VFL Footy on Fox on your Friday afternoon. Great to have you with us wherever and however you are watching. Joel Peterson, Sam Doherty, Josh Jenkins and Steph Clarkson with you. It is Sydney by 59 points, the biggest break that they have had in the game so far. Joel Hamling's got 4 goals, but there has been no shortage of contributors from a Swans perspective in this one so far, JJ.
Yeah, indeed, and it's probably what we expected. Whether the margin is what we expected, but certainly when you have a look or had a look at these two teams on paper, so much AFL talent. Cleary's played plenty of AFL footy. Warner's been in and out of the team this year and last. You know, with Laddams has been around the place as well. Hamling, of course, is a premiership player at the Dogs. So no surprise, but the Pies all, despite the scoreboard, the Pies have had their moments in this contest as well.
And Sam Swadling continues to do good things for them. He's got 28 at three-quarter time. He's been a real bright spark for them, Doc.
Yeah, he has. And Printable on as 2 draftees from the last year. Printable's on 19 as well. But yeah, their ability to sort of stay in the game is, for large parts, has been admirable. But ultimately, as we spoke about, really late in that last quarter, I think they've just got caught up in trying to play Sydney's game a little bit too much, which has caused a lot of pressure on their disposal and ultimately Sydney's ability to score. And if you go on just the score sources, Sydney's ability to score out of their D50, which is not a score source you'd be wanting to live off all the time, but they've kicked 4 goals, 3 out of D50 to forward 50, which is a big number, scoring basically 1 in every 4 times they go for it. So their ability for Pies to be able to sort of lock them in there hasn't quite been there today, and equally on the Sydney side, their ability to run and carry and shift the ball up the ground. We've spoken about it throughout the whole call, but it's just been outstanding.
Let's get the Collingwood side of things. Steph's with Matty Loken.
Matty, third quarter wasn't as good as the first and second. What was the message at three-quarter time?
Yeah, look, I think statistically we're actually not too bad. I think it's a really even game. It's just the struggle's been is that they've been able to score probably too easy. So we got a really young group in today, so the message at three-quarter time was to stay connected and finish off the game really strong. There was talks for more communication from the players in this final quarter. Is that expected too? Yeah, well, as a young group, yeah, obviously lose a bit of that connection and communication at times. So we will really focus on that and hopefully we can finish off the last quarter strong. Thanks for joining us. Good luck for the rest of the game. Thank you. Cheers.
They started the last quarter strong with the opening clearance. Big Illaroo, Schmidt up forward, turns around, he spins on a dime and kicks his second and just gets a couple more people clicking through to the webpage.
The big Roo. He's, we spoke about it before, and this is a great example of one of the small pieces that Pies fans will be watching today and loving. His ability to be able to compete on ground level, and we've spoke about his turning circle and his athletic feet, and it's as he's kind of a tall that's acting as a small there, but nice finish for him. Second goal of the day.
Got to be a little bit of basketball inside that body with that. He basically dribbled that ball back to himself and he was able to finish nicely. So again, just glimpses. He's got back-to-back goals either side of three-quarter time for the Pies. So there's a glimpse for Pies fans having a look at their VFL team, wondering which players can step up in the future.
Mid-season draftee, a couple of seasons ago, just starting to find his feet. As Laverty gets dragged off it in the middle. Free kicking advantage will come the way of the Swans here. Filippo floats it inside the 50. An almighty smack on that ball from Hood, who's been swung into defence. It's like a volleyball spike going up at the net. Spilled down to Longmire. He drives it back inside and Hood's there again in the right spot. A couple of good defensive plays to start this term. Now they go into Sydney mode. To the Pies coming off half-back. Will Phillips elects to move it by foot. Harrison stabs it inside the 50. Nice gather from Teakle down low. Throws it on the boot. And it'll bounce through for a minor score.
Like that piece of ball moving out of the back half. Couple of short marks, uncontested marks, which you've spoken about, but got the ball into a really dangerous spot, and then they started their handball chain. Once you've got the ball into a dangerous part of the oval where you've got control of the game and you can take the pressure off that Sydney have been putting on them today. That was a really nice piece of play.
Hood knocks it away from Hamling up on the wing. Phillips drives a really long ball to the goal square, and a good mark is taken by Gibbs. Swans have got Geelong next week, of course, at AFL and VFL level, so that is going to be a fascinating matchup at VFL level. And the Cats are absolutely flying. belted Brisbane earlier today.
Oh.
The Swans going pretty nicely as well. Shipley turns it over. Laverty intercepting up the ground this time. Kicks in field. Phillips went to ground. Able to fashion something up to Forkhead, who kicks inside the 50. Saxena read it nicely off the pack, and his flying shot is wild and away to the right.
Be interesting to see how Laverty goes in the ruck. I mean, he's listed around, I think 194 was what was listed.
198, JJ.
Yeah, that's what we need. So he probably is a backup ruck if he's going to, or a chop-out ruck, but he's going to get an opportunity here in this last quarter. So keen to see what it looks like for him in the ruck contest and around the ground.
Warner just got disposed of by big Noah Howes. Andriacchio running through, and here comes that Sydney swarm. And then the sprint the other way. Pete Laddams through half forward. He just gave one out wide. Longmire had some time to try and work things out. Carves his kick inside the 50. That is a gorgeous bit of delivery. And Filippo accepts it in 40 from home.
That is a frightening sight. When that ball got turned over, I think you could have counted about 8 Sydney players in the screen ready for that handball. And as we've spoken about a bit, they're all on the same page. They're all running together. They know they know not to kick the ball until they've used their numbers. So they run as a pack. They use their whole numbers, trying to draw the defence up and trying to get that ball out the back. One slight missed skill error was followed up by an absolutely amazing kick inside 50 then.
Filippo with the 3 behinds on the day, as you can see on screen. Here's his assignment.
Oh,
and that's a duck hook. That went viciously left.
in pre-season you spend a lot of time, or you spend your first 5 minutes asking the coaches, what are we doing? What drills are we doing? I don't think there's any secrets at Sydney. It's the half-back handball game into attack.
Again, Dean. Yes, boys, we're doing it again, and it's paying dividends. Latham hacks it up toward Harrison. Gets out the back. Howes fights for it. And it's seen across by Joe Harrison.
We've seen off those dark clouds, so conditions likely perfect tonight.
Let's hope so. A fascinating game. 6:30 Eastern Standard Time on Fox Footy. Sydney and Collingwood. Friday night doubleheader as well, so you've got Gold Coast and Yardabulti as your other option from the top end. And Jath just left it alone for a moment there. He and Howes with maybe a bit of a miscommunication, and McLean couldn't take advantage.
Yeah, something tells me the Power are not going to be easy beats. They're just hard. They're lacking offensive talent. They've got 3 superstars and maybe a little bit too much, or not enough depth at the bottom end, but they're hard to score against and hard to beat.
I really like the way they go about it. They've had a terrific year. I know they've just missed a few times, but they play the modern game. They play it well. They defend really, really well.
4 losses by under a kick so far this season for the Power, so they've been in a lot of games. Adam gives away the free kick inside the defensive 50. Just the 12 disposals for Pete Laddams. For most rucks, that'd be okay for a bloke averaging 28 and 9 clearances. A little bit down on his output. Xavier Marr strides away. Thumps it inside the 50. Malice cruising through. Couldn't take it with him. Giacometti in defence for the Swans. And then clearing the danger for Sydney. Caligari. Chamberlain got caught. Yeah, it's a good tackle. That draws things to a neutral and in front of the Sydney Boys School, which you can see in the background there.
You've either spent time in Sydney, Joel, or you are very well researched.
I've wandered these parts more than once, JJ. Long shot on goal here, strikes the post halfway up. That was a booming kick in the end from Forkhead.
You know the name of the lake, the school, the tram stops,
the bridge,
the
Tibby Cotter Bridge. Test cricketer who died in World War I.
What else is in that book in front of you?
All kinds of secrets, Doc. All kinds of secrets. Yeah, I have far too much time on my hands as a young father, and clearly not enough interesting stuff to do. Here's Charlie Peters. There is more than a little bit of Tom Papley about his game.
Yeah, there is.
And just general setup. He turns it over as he kicks across the defensive 50, though, and Ben de Bolfo has just wandered down into the front half. usually the resolute defender. He's got legs like tree trunks. What can he do to try and put them to good effect in front of the sticks here?
Yeah, this will give the boys a bit of a lift. The result's long gone, but to travel home as a group tonight, I'd imagine.
He hangs it out to the left. It'll stay there. At 17 disposals, 10 marks last week, averaging 15 and 8 on the season. Down back. And he misses that. The man out of the suburb of Research in Melbourne, where he played his junior footy. So he knew the name of the bridge, I reckon, and the lake. 51-point lead to the Swans. See that beautiful late afternoon sun here at Tramway Oval. There's VFL footy coming your way here tomorrow as well as part of Super Saturday. Massive weekend of footy here on Fox. Sam Swaddling with a game-high 31 touches has been important for the Pies. Cleary's got 25 and 2 goals. Mitch Mellis 24 and 3 goals. He flicks it over the top. Spills to Howes. Just throws his left boot at it. Straight up into the sun. Good luck trying to find where that ball went to anyone who was looking up at the footy. Filippo to Kyle. And now off to the run of Hanley. Harrison runs through the 50. He eyes the sticks and misses.
Opportunity probably goes begging. Most players love to bounce and bounce a little bit early. He probably had a chance to bounce and steady and either draw an opponent or get a little bit closer. But again, that handball game, once they can get through that first layer of team defence, it's almost always a score against.
He played a lot of footy with one of the great early bouncers, Adam Sard, Doc.
He does. He loves it. He loves more than an early bounce. He loves an early 3 bounces. If he can get him.
The instant bounce.
Jagger Smith got called out for his early bouncing early in the year, I saw from, I think, from Kane. So
Did Sardi, did he track his bounces? Was he someone who...
No, I don't think he would have been one that would
care?
No, I don't think he would care too much.
Led the league in bounces for a long time. Another chance here for Filippo. So 0 goals, 4 on the day. Just inside the 50, he comes in. Maybe this time.
There you go.
Maybe this time. A sigh of relief from Filippo as he sticks that one through.
That's a man that's relieved about his goal kicking. We watched his last one, had a great view of it, that turned over and was almost a mung of a kick, but that one was outstanding. Good finish from 50 out, but as much as what we've been speaking about for most of the day, great pressure from the Swans off an errant kick out of the back half, but to be able to finish inside 50, hit the target, and then a great finish from 50 from Filippo to get his first goal of the day. 1 goal, 4.
Back out to that 58 points. So for all the good work the Pies have done here in this term, 1 goal, 3, and the Swans get there first to push it almost to a new game high.
You'd be surprised to not hear more about Mellis. He's up to 25 and 3. Set that goal up. He's a really neat ball user.
Totally steams out of the middle for the Swans. Drops it into the pocket. McLean chases after it and can't keep it in.
Good sign for the group as well for Sydney. McLean's only had the 5 disposals, has kicked a couple of goals, but no impact in the game at all. Yet they've still been able to pile on 17 goals and build a huge lead in the contest without any impact from arguably their best player.
Their only losses to Box Hill and North Melbourne so far this season, Sydney, in their first game and their most recent game of this season. Beat Port, GWS, Footscray and Casey. Pies with just the 2 wins over Coburg and Essendon thus far. They've got Sydney, Werribee, Footscray and Casey in their next 4. The Swans with Geelong, Richmond and St Kilda in their next 3 weeks. As Prindable and Geddes having a little bit of push and shove.
You mentioned next week, Geelong versus Sydney, GMHBA Stadium at 5 past midday next Saturday. That'll be a cracking contest with a lot of well-known AFL talent engaged. Always a bit strange when you're looking at the ladder and you see Brisbane Lions in 22nd place on the ladder.
Because Brisbane's there or because there's 22 teams?
It's a fair climb for Brisbane to go from 22nd up into the 8.
Even into the 10. It's going to be a long way for the Lions to go. Of course, been so good at AFL level, but haven't been able to put it together at VFL level so far this season. Jaff inside defensive 50 for the Pies. Swans have got the numbers to track this footy down. Shipley rides the bump. Immediately shoots it on. Giacometti. Longmire. Kicks to full forward, and Hamling's got it.
Lined up for number 5.
Yeah, good mark from him. You just got to relax. Off he goes.
Don't worry about it.
Whips it around immediately. A handful for Joel Hamling. He's got an equal career high here in the VFL with his 5th.
Certainly doesn't believe in the 30-second shot clock, and using most of that. He's the opposite of Matty Lloyd. He used to take a minute and a half. Hamling just stepped around, no problems at all, and gets his 5th. And the other player that I haven't mentioned a lot, but I don't think he's made a mistake in the contest, and he was very clean and neat last time we saw him as well, is Shipley. 21 disposals. He's got the 10 handball receives. Looks a player at halfback who just makes a lot of good decisions. He does strike me as a player, if you're thinking about him at the next level, there's probably reasons why you wouldn't draft him, and I reckon that's the case with Sean Manor at Geelong. You could always find a reason not to draft him, but find a reason to draft him and you might be rewarded.
Because he spent quite a few seasons on the Giants list, did Nick Shipley. Played 6 games, 2 of those in 2018, 4 in 2021.
Just looks a really composed player, maybe matured, spent that time in the AFL system, and he's a better player for it.
5th season now with Sydney's VFL program, still 26 years of age, so a lot of good footy ahead of him. Ryan at halfback for the Swans. Game high 64-point lead. Collingwood hasn't lacked for endeavour throughout the course of the afternoon. Harry Di Matteo will get the free kick here. It is real golden hour stuff at Tramway Oval at the moment. It's
high-rise apartment in the background could potentially do us a little favour and block the sun out.
Just rise a little higher would be nice. Might need your tradies to get onto the job, JJ.
No, they've clocked off.
Start building it a little bit higher. Here's Warner through the middle. Look at that beautiful delivery to Giacometti. Saxena stands the mark. Giacometti inside the 50. Harrison went upstairs, and Kennedy can't believe that he's given away the free kick.
Yeah, front on contact there. He'd argue it was on the side. I reckon that's the first passage of play we've seen from Sydney that was all by foot, with a couple of kicks across the ground to change lanes. Warner's kick across the ground was magnificent. And really debatable whether that was a free kick or not, but Peters is happy to oblige.
When you run and carry through the Collingwood defence the whole time, they'll start to narrow up a little bit. That's where the open side of the ground does come in. Great piece of vision by Corey Warner to get the ball out there. If we look at the 2 guys that had the most impact in that handball receive game, it's Mellis and Corey Warner. They've been absolutely outstanding with their work rate.
Charlie Peters, the former. Casey Demon coming in for his first of the contest. Leaves it out to the right. 18 goals, 11 for the Swans. And that goal umpire's sunglasses are doing a lot of work at this stage of the afternoon. Very much required. He's Big Roo at half-back. Smith latches onto it. Spot at which he kicked the goal late in that 3rd term, which is a fantastic finish on the run. Opportunity for Marnie. Kicks inside the 50. Gibbs is there for the Swans. Geddes. Now Harry Kyle, who's been impressive this afternoon. Pick 14 at last year's draft out of the Sydney Academy. They'll go by foot again here. Filippo right on halfway. See plenty of fans as they make their way into the SCG enjoying the sights. He turns it over to Teakle. Former Port Adelaide man and Kangaroo. Kicks into the centre of the ground now. Swadlings continue to rack them up throughout the course of the afternoon. Kennedy on the overlap. Saxena's going to drift into the pocket, and Laverty wants to go himself. Rolls onto his left and lashes it.
Well, he said, I've left a couple on the table. I'm not leaving another. I need to walk away from here with at least a couple. 2 goals, 5 now, and swung onto that left foot with supreme confidence. It was really nice offense from the Pies coming through the middle. The handball receive at the perfect part of the ground to hit up Laverty, and he swung onto that left foot. It looked a little bit like Scotty Lucas.
Well, that's not a bad call from you,
swinging onto that left foot. He can kick half as many as Scotty Lucas did in his career. He'll have a fine time of it.
Sam Swaddling involved in that one again. 34 disposals he's up to. The 16 handball receives. So he's been the one that's been involved in that transition part of the game. That he's been able to help Collingwood move the ball really, really well. He's had the 10 contested possessions. He's done it all for the Pies today. He just probably hasn't had as many as teammates as he would have liked with him today.
2 goals, 5 on the day for Laverty. Get it out of the middle here. The Pies, Marnie sticks it deep again. Gibbs goes up for the Swans and does the work at ground level. Hands it straight back to Marnie. Stands up tall in the tackle. Detoli almost got upended. Swaddling just throws a boot at it. Shipley's on the last line. Got caught, got the handball away. Ooh. And had support from Geddes. That was living dangerously for the Swans. Longmire just tried to throw a boot at it on the run. Not effective. Back inside the 50 comes Collingwood. And a chance here for Swaddling.
Probably just in the end, because it didn't look a handball from Shipley at the top of the goal square. So to force a repeat entry, give themselves an opportunity to get that goal is probably reasonable. So Swaddling's had a big day.
Yep.
See the numbers up to 36 now on the back of this shot at goal. Been prolific in the uncontested game.
Definitely put his hand up for AFL selection, I would have thought, next week.
Under 18 All-Australian last year out of East Perth. Comes in, finishes nicely. And this is a bit of a statement game from Sam Swaddling. Trying to work his way up for a senior debut. 36 disposals and a goal.
Some of the young AFL listed guys have actually been pretty good today, and that's the. There's plenty of Pies onlookers today, wondering what these young guys are going to be in the future. And I think Sam Swaddling's definitely showed more than enough promise that he's going to be a good AFL player. Waiting to get his opportunity, but we spoke about Brindable. I think he's looked pretty good in the contest and through the midfield today. Showed a few little bits and pieces, and we've spoken about the big Roo. Smith, I've liked the look of him in glimpses today with the 2 goals, but enough for the Pies fans to walk away. We did say pre-game that the AFL listed experience was a big discrepancy, so there's a few good signs from the Collingwood side.
33 last week for Sam Swaddling, 36 this week, of course. The AFL teams coming up from 6:30 Eastern Standard Time, Sydney and Collingwood. Big Friday of footy here on Fox to kick off your weekend the right way. Opportunity again here for the Pies. Teakle overran it. Gibbs stayed with the play. Phillippo to Shipley. Laddams was up in the air when he accepted the hand pass and made it work, and then ended up on the ground at the end of it all. Malice tight to the boundary line. Some fancy stuff. It's sort of globetrotter stuff now from the Swans. Giacometti inside the arc. The big fend off from McLean. Rolls around, tries to bounce it home and sticks it into the post.
Now that's been his day. He did all the hard work. It was a nice gather at ground level. Gave the little fend off. Arced back inside and just hit that ball skinny and didn't get the bounce. Often that ball will bounce from left to right, and that would have found its way through. But yeah, when you have a day, it's hard to believe one of your key forwards and one of your best players can have a day like this, considering you've kicked 18 goals. But not everyone gets a lick of the ice cream every week.
Hamling with 5 goals too. His counterpart up there. Snell got rid of McCarthy. Didn't like the decision. Just has to live with it. McCarthy kicks into the forward pocket, and just about everyone lost that in the sun as it goes out of play. 54-point lead to the Swans. 18-12 to 9-12. Sam Swaddling prolific here in this final term. Harry Kyle's had plenty of footy as well.
Swaddling's at the 9 this quarter.
24 disposals for Harry Kyle in defence, going at 91% as well for the Swannies. As Laddams gets it out of there. Straight back to Max Marnie. He's going to go back and have a shot as well. Third game of the season, one of the ins this week for this Collingwood team. Kennedy thought he might be a chance of getting a little layoff. Marnie's going to go back with some intent. And misses to the left-hand side. 53 points is that margin now. Max Marnie in the time-honoured number 77 of this Collingwood team.
Who's your favourite other number 77, Giles?
That's a great question. I'm sure there's a...
Luka Doncic,
yeah, I was going to say, I'm sure there's a basketballer that's donned the number 77 or an NFL offensive tackle or something.
Yeah. Here they go again, the Swans. I was just about to ask the question, do they put the handball game away and just try and run the clock? But the answer is certainly no.
Corey Warner almost got dacked as he got rid of the hand pass. Di Mattia helped turn it over for the Pies. Now they can whack it inside the forward 50 once more. And it's into the pocket and out of play. Teakle can't get on the end of it.
Swans only have one way, both AFL and VFL. Watching the North game last week, I think the game was within a goal and a bit, and they were still all-out offense with 3 minutes to go. That's just the way they play. That's the way that's ingrained into their system. And the one thing they do, and we've spoken about it a little bit, is like they defend off the back of it really, really well. So no need to change too much up for them.
You see 5 for Hamling, 3 for Mellis, 2 goals, 5 for Xavier Laverty. What an afternoon it could have been for him. Just his second game in Collingwood colours. Oh, that's a miracle bounce that's almost gone through. That was a wild shot at goal from Forkhead. Just couldn't get that finish to work. Oscar Forkhead's had plenty of it this afternoon. Name's been said very carefully on all those occasions. Datoli off half-back for the Swans. Drives it up toward McLean. Sat it on his head. Howes and Hood had a hand in knocking it away for the Pies. Fresh off the bench there for Collingwood was De Bolfo. And not able to get on the end of it and surge it forward.
It was a handy interchange. Probably not as handy as Jeremy Cameron sneaking on and getting the hit out from Edwards last night, or Blitzarves that might have been in the ruck, but yeah, it can be a good time to come on the ground and just lose an opponent or not have an opponent.
Looks like maybe Jacob Ryan down on the bench as well there for Collingwood, standing next to Matty Loken as well, so might have picked up an injury throughout the course of the afternoon.
Straight back to the handball game.
Yes, every single time. Adams just continues to knock up the possessions. Filippo got sandwiched. Ryan scooped it up. Came straight back to him, so he has another go. Peters just kept the legs chugging away. He snaps on goal. That's a really nice finish from Charlie Peters.
It is icing on the cake, and it's a pretty sweet cake for the Sydney Swans. Fans will be hoping that the AFL team can replicate this type of performance. 31 scoring shots, and once again, I mean, Laddams wins himself a free kick and straight away doesn't even think about it. Late in the fourth quarter, the game's all but over officially, and he goes straight into the handball game, and Sydney are able to get overlap, and Peters kicks a really fine goal.
It's an interesting coaching decision whether you try and match them and equalise them around the ball, which is where they're doing the handballing, or whether you put an extra behind the ball to give you some extra confidence in your pressing decisions to be able to put pressure on the ball. You can go either way, but as you can see that we've seen today, they're just so good at it. And at VFL level, that some of the players today have been, their skill under pressure has been absolutely outstanding.
Phillips and Smith get it going for the Magpies. And that Son, he's playing havoc inside that forward 50. I would imagine with some of the players' eyesight as well as mine, to be fair. Here's Brown. He wheels away. Pokes into the pocket, and spare a thought for our trusty camera operators who are just staring straight down the barrel
just looks
at
like
that end of the ground.
Just looks like a day game at Marvel with the roof open, if you ask me.
I played in a few of them, and they were horrific.
People still beg for the roof to be open, but players can't see, the fans can't see, people at home can't see, the commentators can't see.
Yeah, that's one of those. You forget about it until it happens, then you go, yeah, this is why we don't have the roof open.
Yes.
Opportunity stepping through here for Harry Kennedy to unload. There's a whistle on the play, and he got dumped after he got rid of it. And so it will be a downfield opportunity. And is it Laverty who's going to take it in the pocket?
Well, I hope so, because
they pinched one from him earlier.
Might be coming all the way back here. So, yeah, I mean, it's been. I found this. It's been interesting, the contact after the fact. I mean, you know, I guess you can mount the argument there's no need for that contact, but there's not a lot in it.
I still don't really understand why it's not downfield and why is it the free kick where it was, and which one constitutes for which way.
That should have been downfield because the ball's well and truly gone. So
Harry Kennedy might be sneaky happy it's not. He strikes it from 49 metres out. He wasn't going to kick the first one. He has gone back and kicked the second one. A little bit of redemption there for Harry Kennedy, and he gets something to top off his afternoon of work.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that it's a great. I mean, the ball's a quarter of the way through its travel, and it comes back. So that one should have been downfield, but fortunately for Pies fans and for Kennedy himself, he's able to make the most of it. 16 in the goals, not a bad afternoon. He's got a smile on his face. Don't show a few. You are allowed to be jovial from time to time, even if you get beat. It's not the end of the world. The sun will be coming up tomorrow.
Depends who you ask on that one, Josh.
It's very much a matter of opinion.
There's more than enough time to be upset in the world of AFL. Let's put it that way. So wherever you can find a little bit of light, go for it.
Just a little bit of joy, especially when you're down by 52 points. A little bit of a smile won't go astray. Here's McMenamin playing for the Western Jets as their 19th player. He had 8 intercept marks in a half earlier in the year against Tassie. Some Tom Stewart type numbers from last night. Trying to make his case potentially be picked up either at the end of the year or the mid-season draft in about a week and a half's time. Bit of run here from Marnie. Back of the pack, an opportunity for the Pies. De Bolfo still plying his trade up front. Laverty's waiting for it to come out. Snell's been important for the Swans in defence. Harrison kicks wide, too wide, out of bounds on the full. Haven't made too many mistakes coming out today, the Swans.
Good pressure by Saxena there. It's nearly the end of the game, down by almost 10 goals. They're still chasing and tackling.
Howes launches it as high and as far as he can. A massive fly over the top came from Smith. The big Roo got on the hop there and tried to bounce over the top of the pack. Warner alters outside the defensive 50. And the Sydney Swans do a number on the Pies, a 52-point win. They move to 5-2 on the season and fly up to second on the table, at least for now. They've got the Cats to come next week, and those two teams in this VFL season, as it stands, occupy the top 2 spots. And again, JJ, a very professional performance from Sydney.
Yeah, absolutely. They look every bit a finals contender in this VFL season. So much can change, of course. You get some injuries to your AFL team and all of a sudden you might lose McLean or you lose Laddams, you lose Warner around the footy and your team looks a lot different. But as it is currently constructed, it's a really dangerous VFL squad, and it always felt like a 40, 50, 60-point game coming in, and that's what we saw play out.
Indeed we did. Let's get some reactions to Steph.
Joined here by Caden Cleary. Caden, you spent a bit of the last quarter on the bench. What was that about?
Yeah, no, just the emergency for the main game tonight in case one of the boys goes down. I think they should all be good, but just in case, yeah. You've
had a great season this year. 25 touches today. You had 35 plus last week and your goals. Is it good to finally get some consistency in your game and really take a step forward?
Yeah, it's nice. I think the program that Nick Marcheski and Adam Kennedy are running down into VFL is, giving us a great opportunity to excel. And yeah, we're flying into one, so you know, we're enjoying down here in the twos and we're going well as well. So that always helps.
Do you feel like there's a real connection with this AFL side and the VFL side? We see the way that you guys play your attack and you have your defence. You've got your handball chain. That's what everyone's been talking about lately. Is there real continuity within the groups?
Yeah, that's something Coxie always says as well. Like next man in, sort of. So the boys that are playing twos, we've got to be ready. We've got to know the game plan. We've got to know what is, you know, needed if we're needed in the one. So I think, you know, it goes down from 1 to 44. All of us are ready to go, and we all know what we need to do. So it's good.
52-point win must feel pretty good.
Yeah, we're building, and it's nice. It's nice to get a good win, build that winning culture. So
good to get a rebound win, especially bouncing back from last year's tough loss, last week rather's tough loss against North.
Yeah.
What do you reckon switched the most between these two games?
I think we went away from our defence a little bit. I think our contest was a little bit off, a little bit lacklustre last week. You know, that's the Bloods' way. That's what we want to stamp our game around, is our defence. And obviously we have the run and gun game, but if we get our defence, if it's a little bit off, everything's off. So I think we got back to that. Our contest was on, you know, our defence was on, and you know, we scored 126 points from that. Just it comes.
Nick Malcheski said at quarter time that the first half of that first quarter wasn't the game that you guys wanted to be playing. What switched for you guys? What was the mental state of today?
Yeah, I think just like the same. Like we're going away from our contest. We're going away from what works. We're trying to maybe cheat a little bit. I think that's the thing that happens with our game plan. You know, we're so offensive that sometimes we go away from our defence, and that's honestly what, you know, is what we slam the game over. So we got back to what works. We got back to our defence. We got back to being tough in the contest. So yeah.
Hayden, thanks so much for joining us. Rest those legs in case you have to go tonight. See you later.
Thanks to Steph. Thanks to Caden Cleary as well. Cleary, 25 disposals, as Steph said, a couple of goals as well. And Docky, he starts so much of what they do with that handball and run.
Yeah, he does. The 12 contested possessions, he's the one that's winning it and then getting it on the outside to some of the runners that we spoke about earlier in terms of Malice and Corey Warner. Just an outstanding game by Cleary. And I was just listening to a couple of the words you said around no cheating, making sure that you're staying and putting on pressure on the field. You can tell that that's what they did today, and they did it outstandingly.
Yeah, he's having a big season. He's Caden Cleary, very important part of their team. A man who was swung forward today, did it with good effect, was Joel Hamling. He's alongside Steph.
You did swung forward, 5 goals. Pretty good move by Nick Malcheski.
Yeah, I don't mind getting forward, to be honest. Sort of changed a bit of a mindset for me, and to get forward and impact on the scoreboard's pretty good.
5 goals. What goes into that for your prep? I know obviously you haven't played forward as much as your other positions, but kicking 5 goals is a big deal.
I'm not really too sure, to be honest. I started my career as a forward a long time ago, so yeah, just learning from guys around me and just trying to get involved and helping out the other forwards around me, and just getting on the end of it helps me. It's all a product of the midfield, really, getting me involved, so I'm happy just to be a part of it.
Hayden McLean was pretty vocal on the bench, yelling out, "Stay connected" to you guys during the game. Did you really feel that he took a leadership role coming back into the VFL this week? How good is it to have him in the side?
Yeah, obviously disappointing for him not to be in the AFL team. Still, he played really well last week, and him coming back is a massive influence. The boys love him. He's in a prime time of his career now, so really doing well, and he'll get a chance very shortly.
Just goes to show how strong the Swans squad depth is, that someone with the calibre like Hayden comes back, and Charlie comes back in, and Hayden obviously is the one that makes way. But how good is it to have such a strong dynamic group here as well?
It's good having a really fit list. Both teams going well. It sort of provides the AFL with options that they can go to when guys get injured, and us guys, obviously, it gives us some belief as well. So we're playing good footy. So all round as a club, it's really important to have guys next up to ready to play.
Bouncing back from the loss last week, a 52-point win. What does that do for you guys going into next week?
It gives us confidence, really. We're a good side and we get a handball game going. We're quite quick through the middle, like our AFL side is. So get that going, and our mids get involved and get into play. It really helps us forwards.
These guys are calling out to get you to go sing the song, so go enjoy it. Congrats on the win.
Thank you. Thanks for your time.
Joel Hamling, 5 goals, and I mean, he's a tricky matchup at either end of the ground, JJ. He was really impressive.
Yeah, he is. I can't recall him as a forward, so I guess it was a long time ago. Certainly remember him as a difficult defender to play against, but just got some really sharp opportunities from that brilliant attack that the Swans have, and like, he wasn't talking himself up, he was talking up the offensive system of the Sydney Football Club, and he knows he's a product of what happens up the ground, as all forwards are. And today was his opportunity to cash in. He did so. He kicked 5 goals, which is a really fantastic achievement. But when you see the Swans play in that manner, you would expect some of those forwards to be able to get on the end of it and do the job.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at our match highlights. The Pies dominated the first couple of minutes. The Swans, they didn't waste any time getting on top, though. They were able to kick 4 goals in the space of 6 minutes in that term. Hamlin got on the board with a couple, and that really sort of set up the way that they wanted to play. It was always going to be tough for the Pies to wrestle the game back from there, Doc, once the Swans got up and running.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And for much of the day, the stories around the transition in the game, we spoke about it before, but 4 goals, 5 coming from D50 to inside 50. That's an enormous number. 4 goals from centre bounce, which they were very prolific in, and scoring at 54% of their inside 50s. You want to keep that number. If you're defending him, you want to keep that number around 40%. But just showed the class of the Sydney team today. And Peter Laddams here to Cleary. So much of the game was built off their class and their ability to finish inside 50, and ultimately 22 scoring shots from turnover. That's a pretty modern age score sort of source. So it did really, really well.
And the Pies, for the scoreline, which obviously 52 points isn't super flattering, JJ, but they weren't absolutely blown off the park in this one.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, it's probably a reflection of where the two teams are at both levels, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a similar scoreline tonight. Hopefully it's a little bit closer and a little bit more combative, but the young Pies are at VFL level, you know, looking for the next 2 or 3 players that can be of assistance at AFL level. Clearly Swadling was the obvious one who put his hand up with 39 overall disposals, but this guy, he's not on the AFL list, Laverty, but he might be at some point. He showed some signs. Certainly 7 scoring shots is pretty impressive. McCarthy I liked, another non-listed player who shows some signs. So there's a little bit to like for Pies fans, but certainly came up against a far inferior opponent this afternoon.
Yeah, they had some young players who did some nice things. There you see the queues out the front of the Sydney Cricket Ground, the Swans and the Pies. Friday footy here on Fox from 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. The Swans have got a win on the board already, 52 points. We'll wrap it all up on the other side of this. Very solid performance from the Sydney Swans. They win by 52 points to kick off Friday footy on Fox. And great to have the coach of the Swans, Nick Malcheski, with us in the rooms. Nick, thanks for your time. What was the most pleasing part out of all that?
We won the contest. We knew they were pretty good in the contest. Clear's well done, mate. Yeah, pretty good in the contest. We were plus 10 overall. So still areas that we need to work on in our game. But yeah, really pleased with the contest stuff.
Nick, Josh Jenkins here. Congrats on the effort of the group. Must be easy to try and play the same way as the AFL group. I know you probably got some tweaks from time to time, and personnel plays its part, but it looks like you've got a group that is absolutely in sync with the way the AFL group wants to play as well.
Yeah, which is great. And I think our VFL guys, we train them twice a week, Tuesday, Thursdays, and we really implement that game style that we want to play. And the beauty about this year is they've bought into that. So it is pleasing, and it helps our AFL guys play the way we want to play. So, and we get results like we did today. Still areas we need to work on though, Josh.
A lot of focus, I know, on the guys who do play some or have played some AFL footy, and Laddams and Corey Warner and those guys. But I thought Mallis is, I've seen him a couple of times this year, love the way he goes about it. 28 disposals, 3 goals today. Getty's the same. Are those guys, those guys who you see as AFL players at some point across their career? And the second part to that question is, we know mid-season drafts and those sorts of things aren't far away. If you guys don't have room for them or don't necessarily see them as a part of your list, do you actively try and help them get on lists elsewhere?
Yeah, well, definitely it would be great to put them on our list if we could fit them. I've got to speak to the recruiters around that if we've got spots. But Mitch Mallis has been outstanding, I reckon, when he's come in. We found him late through one of our other coaches, and got his number and invited him up to try out. And yeah, he's having a great time up here. He's club back in Baroni will be pretty disappointed he's not playing there, but we're super happy to have him. And he just cracks in. He just cracks in and runs his butt off, and there he is. Hey, Mitch.
Nick, it's Sam Doherty here, mate. Well done as well on the win today. We heard you speak at quarter time around the defensive side of the game. So what did you mean by that, and what are you looking from the group in terms of that?
Yeah, I thought with our handball game, we were sort of getting past the contest, and when we handballed and missed the target, we were all past it, and then Collingwood had good shape around that contest, the scramble. So we just needed to clean that up a little bit, and I thought in slow D and live D we were folding back a little bit too much. So we like to come forward on teams and try and put as much pressure as we could, which you probably would have seen in the second half a little bit better.
Yeah, just on that handball game, I know you would have trained a hell of a lot of it over pre-season. Is there a big focus on the forwards in terms of stretching the field to create that transition space?
Yeah, I think a lot of teams are trying to do that, to try and stretch the ground as big as they can, so then it allows that handball game going. And it's hard to stop if you can get that overlap and get the +1 ahead of the ball, but also if you do turn it over, you're in a bit of trouble. So we're just got to work both sides of the game and make sure our defence and contest is first and foremost strong.
We're talking about Joel Hamling. You're happy to take the credit of the 5-goal swing down forward, I'm hoping. But whose idea was it, and how that obviously worked amazing today?
Yeah, we did it against the Bulldogs. I think we did against Port Melbourne as well early in the year. Just swung him when the wind was going down that way, when the ball wasn't living as much, because it's quite windy those 2 games. So we know we've got that up our sleeves, and he works well with Doss. So yeah, we'll look to do that when we need to. And I thought Schnelly did a great job down back as a young leader. So he played a good game today.
How do you handle, I think Corey Warner's a great example, and you see it across most teams in the competition. You bring in young players who have always been, great midfielders, and at VFL level, Corey Warner's a dominant midfielder, 27 disposals today, had 18 handball receives, got on the scoreboard. But when he goes and plays in the AFL, he probably has to play high half forward, a role that is basically built on work rate. He probably doesn't understand the role quite as well. So how do you balance Monday to Friday teaching him how to play at AFL level, and then Saturdays and Sundays he's got to come back and play that more traditional role?
Yeah, it is tough. It's tough to manage all the guys, because a lot of guys want to play that post role, and it's probably an area that we could look to use at AFL level with that speed and pressure. So for guys like Corey and Clears, we're trying to work on their pressure game, and we'll give them stints at sort of that half-forward line, and also stints in the midfield just to get their hands on the ball, because sometimes it is hard to play that role at VFL level because sometimes you can't connect as well. But yeah, we'll give them the best chance to play well in all roles, so they give themselves the best chance to play AFL.
Nick, yourself coming back to the Swans this year. Of course, you spent a lot of time up in Queensland after you retired. How have you found coming back and coaching this Sydney side?
Yeah, absolutely loving it, mate. The club's changed a little bit with the new facilities. They're a lot better than the ones we're standing in now, where we used back 12 years ago. So, mate, yeah, it's awesome. The club hasn't changed too much in terms of personnel. There's a lot of guys or people that are working upstairs that were here when I was here, a long time ago. So, loving it. I feel like I'm back home.
It's great to see, and great to see your side going really well. And gee, taking on Geelong next week is going to be some sort of contest. We're looking forward to that. Thanks for your time, Nick. Congratulations on the win.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate your time.
Nick Malcheski, the coach of the Sydney Swans, 52-point winners over Collingwood, and that's the two top sides in the competition as it stands at the moment, Sydney and Geelong. They will do battle next week. Collingwood to face Werribee next week as well. Here's Hayden McLean's afternoon, so a little bit quieter than maybe we expected from him, but he's still going to be in the mix as this season goes on.
Yeah, and I mean his performance in a way probably doesn't matter that much because they know they can call on him. Took some good marks aerially. He was a bit unlucky. The ball found other players and other places at time to time, and that's the life of a forward on occasion, but he'll be fine.
Yeah, he's going to be around the mark, and they've got plenty of weapons. Of course, the AFL clash coming up tonight. Sydney and Collingwood, Gold Coast and Yarrabilty, a Friday night doubleheader on Fox Footy. A big Saturday as well. Starts with VFL Footy, rolls on into Guana and North Melbourne, Narm and Hawthorn, Carlton and the Bulldogs. And your Sunday ticket is fixed. You do not need to leave the screens of Fox Footy across the course of the weekend. All the AFL and VFL action coming your way. The Swans, big winners to kick off Friday footy here in Sydney. 52 points, they get the job done. Thanks for joining us. Make sure you stay locked into Fox Footy. Friday night is going to be huge.
We're underway at Marvel. Gorn, perfect palm down. Viney trying to part his way through them and find Kazaya. Steele feeds it out in the Windhager direction. Little flick pass from Hall.